is Socrates. He's on the move, and they're going to look for Socrates in the corner. Touchdown!
Rowan heading for the touchpad with the lead, and the props will take the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
Andrews will be in shotgun. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He'll throw it down the left sideline. He's going to wide open receiver. He's got the touchdown.
Okay, moving in. Sends one on goal, and he scores!
And it is a power play goal.
Back to pass, middle of the field. The catch is made by Britt. She's off to the races at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Britt is in for the score.
Back on in. Here's Yoxin. Yoxin to the backhand. Trying to go to the front. Makes the move and shot. And he scores!
Smith delivers. And that's hit back toward the mound. Weiss has it in short. He steps on second. And the ball game is over. Massapequa Coast has won the 2023 New York State Little League Baseball Championship. Live from Madden Field in Rahway, New Jersey, the PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into coverage of Jersey Sharks football. Tonight, the unbeaten 5-0 Sharks take on the 4-1 New Jersey Silverbacks in League of All Leagues competition. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, alongside my broadcast partner, Nicholas Bavona. And Nick, this is a big game for both teams. It's been quite some PDF. We last covered them all the way back in the month of August when they faced the New York Bears. The Sharks return to PDF tonight, taking on a Silverbacks team that comes in with just one loss on the 2024 season.
And in that game that we covered the last time here on PDF, Joe, it was a scoreless game up until the waning seconds of that game. The Sharks got a late touchdown with 16 seconds left, took a 6-0 lead over the New York Bears, and held on for that win. Now, on the other side, thanks for the Silverbacks in this game, Joe. They are 4-1, as you see on the season. The lone loss they had was in Week 1 against the Pharaohs, a 1-point loss in that game. Both of these teams, though, are coming off a nice win last week, both getting a 21-0 shutout victory last weekend. And as you mentioned, a huge game with a lot of implications in the LAL standings.
Speaking of shutouts and speaking of defense, Nick, the Sharks so far this season have allowed just 7 points. Those came against the Long Island Red Devils. Their defense has put forth 4 consecutive shutouts during each of their last 4 games. You can't do much better than that.
Yeah, and you look at what they're, the season overall for this Sharks team defensively. You mentioned the 7 points that they allowed in just Week 1. 4 different players with interceptions, a bunch of players with a lot of sacks on the season as well. Julius Tobe leads the way with 5. And the biggest thing that the Sharks obviously have to contend with, Joe, the only issue they've had really this season has been penalty yardage. They're averaging about 18 penalties per game with an average of 51 yards per game. So if there's anything that the Sharks have to be worrisome of tonight, it's making sure that they don't get in the penalty column and giving, the Silverbacks more opportunities on the field. But you mentioned it, the Sharks have been just absolutely dominant this season on the defensive front, and their offense is also doing a really good job this season as well.
They certainly are, Nick. In terms of their scoring, the Sharks are averaging about 23 points per game, and they have surpassed the 30-point mark twice. One of those games was played 2 weekends ago when they took on the Central Jersey Vikings in a 38-0 victory. That was their best offensive performance of the season. All the way back in their first game against the Red Devils, they also crossed the 30-point threshold with 32 in a 32-7 victory. But we mentioned the defensive battle we had here on PDF between the Sharks and the Bears earlier this season. And speaking of defenses, it's not just the Sharks defense that has done a great job this year. The Silverbacks have had a really nice season defensively as well. They've also managed to put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, and the Silverbacks defense on the year, Joe, they've only allowed 33 points on the season, and most of the run have come early on in the year for the Silverbacks team. I mentioned the 7-6 game they had in Week 1. Unfortunately, a loss in that game, but still a very good defensive showing in that game. And even on the offensive front as well, they're averaging about 19 points per game as well. So this game really could be going either way. You have to think that this is most likely going to be another defensive matchup, the way these two defenses are playing right now. And there's realistically no better time to do it with the playoffs on the horizon.
And let's take a look at what this game means for the standings. We have the full LAL standings coming up on the screen right now. Obviously, this game means quite a bit to both teams. But if you're the Silverbacks and you're looking to finish as regular season champion, this is a game that you have to have. You've already lost to the Pharaohs, and with the regular season winding down toward its conclusion, a loss tonight could take them out of the conversation for a finish atop the LAL come the end of the regular season. Looking ahead for the Sharks, if they were to lose this game, all of a sudden that creates a lot of chaos near the top of the standings. We could end up very easily with a three-way tie should the Sharks then go on to defeat the Brooklyn Pharaohs. Of course, we don't know what Brooklyn is going to do between now and then. But looking ahead toward later in the season, here on PDF, we cover the Sharks one more time, and that game will be at home in the season finale against the Brooklyn Pharaohs. That's a game that we're very much looking forward to, but there is plenty on the line here tonight, and neither team can afford to look past this game.
And if you look at the schedule for the Sharks and the rest of the season, Joe, obviously this matchup here tonight with the Silverbacks, then next week they go to play Central Jersey, and then, as you mentioned, that final game of the season against Brooklyn. And then for the Silverbacks, after tonight, this is their last conference game. They play the Red Devils next week, and then they have a non-conference opponent the final week of the season. So they really need a win here tonight. It pretty much is a must-win for the Silverbacks in this scenario. So that defense that we mentioned earlier on, they're going to have to come out with a big game in this one to get themselves to win and hand the Sharks their first loss of the season.
And taking a look at the Sharks offensively in terms of the passing game, and I do apologize if I mispronounce Chris's last name, but I think that's Chris Cruciolo. But I could be wrong on that. I may have to ask Dave. I'm sure he's watching, our producer back home. But Chris, nonetheless, has had himself a good season passing the football, completing passes at nearly a 55% rate with an average of 16 yards per completion, 11 touchdowns against 1 interception, and a quarterback rating north of 118. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a touchdown interception ratio of 11-1, I mean, that is really good football, and it's carefree football. You know, you're not making a lot of mistakes in the field in terms of turnovers. And the other thing to know for this team, Joe, is they have 4 different receivers with over 100 yards receiving on the season. Lance Fisher leads the way with 273, but after him, they have 3 other receivers with over 100 yards on the season. Stephen Jones Jr. in the backfield as well provides a good running game. Has 139 rushing yards on the season. And this offense is averaging near around 270 yards per game. So they have a really good offensive front, and we know that they can put points on the board. But this is the big litmus test for them tonight in order to see how that offense will do against this good Silverbacks defense.
Quarterbacks had plenty of help, Nick. 4 different receivers, over 100 yards receiving. 4 different receivers with multiple touchdowns. I think the area where the Sharks have had a bit of an issue is the ground game. They've averaged probably somewhere between 2 and 3 yards per carry overall on the season. Maybe a bit more than that, trying to get a look. They don't have the overall team average. I'm looking at it as a breakdown by runner. But nonetheless, the Sharks have done a better job through the air than they have on the ground. But if you have a back who's averaging 4 yards a carry, and they do, and Stephen Jones Jr., at the very least, you can ride that back to hopefully some second and short, third and manageable, and that keeps your offense in a good position to keep the ball moving up the field. I think what they might be missing is the dynamic play in the ground game. We'll see tonight if they can change that trend.
Well, we saw last night in that game with Old Bridge that we covered here on the show that how the running game can play a big factor and leading into the passing game playing a factor later on as the game goes. Now, on the season, the Sharks are averaging about 62 rushing yards per game. So that is a low number that they would like to certainly get up. And, you know, when you have Stephen Jones Jr. averaging about 4 yards per carry, that number can certainly get up in the rest of this game and for the rest of the season. And then it leads you to, again, that big passing game that they've had all year so far. Then, you know, I mentioned it. It's a big litmus test. You know, they have played pretty good offensively this season. This is probably the best defense they have faced so far this season, being in this Silverbacks defense. So this test tonight will not only help them not only for this game, but then for their final game of the season against the Pharaohs, another team that's had a very good defensive season.
No question about it, Nick. A tough test lies ahead for the Sharks tonight as they hit the road for a matchup with the Silverbacks. What we will do ahead of kickoff is step aside for a very quick 2-minute break, a message from the sponsors of our Jersey Sharks football stream. When we come back, kickoff between the Sharks and Silverbacks.
At a Edison Heating and Cooling, New Jersey's comfort provider since 1987. With over 100 factory-trained service and installation personnel and a fleet of over 100 vehicles, we are able to service our customers faster and more effectively than our competitors. Our team of customer care professionals are always on call for an in-home consultation. If you and your family are in need of an installation or service completed by expert technicians, done professionally and efficiently, you need Edison Heating and Cooling. It's what we do.
And we are back from Madden Field as we have kickoff a bit early. We were slated for a 6:30 p.m. start. Instead, we kick off at 6:27. So a message from the rest of our sponsors. We'll have to wait just a short while as that kick is sent away. It's a good one. And Nadir Smith had to watch it sail over his head and out of the back of the end zone as this game begins with a touchback.
Now, Joe, for our viewers at home as well, we do understand right now there is not a clock on our graphic. The reason being is there is not a clock operator here up in the booth. So the time right now is being kept on the field. So we'll have to monitor to see how much time is left in each quarter as this game goes along.
Well, your job gets a bit easier, Nick. Don't have to worry about managing the clock. We will have down and distance for you all night long. Nick, our engineer and color commentary tonight. Pat Gialorenzo on camera upstairs. And this is Joe Foreman on play-by-play for the PDF Sports Network. It's been a very busy weekend here on PDF. We had high school football last night. Been a very busy 24 hours for me. Zamar Wise at quarterback for the Silverbacks. He will hand off the middle, and a great move by the halfback, Mackay Caesar. He should have been brought down behind the line of scrimmage, somehow got away, and that's a pickup of about 4 yards on first down.
Yeah, I'm kind of stunned he got out of the backfield somehow as we have an injury on the field for the Sharks right there, but to turn nothing into something, that's definitely what the Silverbacks are, very happy to see.
As Nick mentioned, there is an injury on the field. And on the first play of the game, one of the Sharks defenders is down. And with that, they will attend to the fallen player, and play will be stopped. So, Nick, why don't we go back and resume the message from our sponsors to make sure we get them the exposure that they very much deserve. We'll pick it up right from where we left off during our last commercial break. And when we come back, it will be on the other side of this injury timeout.
Preventing a seriously injured person requires a lot of research and preparation, but it also means giving hope to the client.
Lombardi Law is always there for you whenever you need them. You can count on them at all times. Lombardi Law gave me hope when I had none.
When you hire the law firm of Lombardi & Lombardi, you're not just hiring one attorney. You're hiring the education, the knowledge, and the experience of all 10 attorneys in this law firm.
Lombardi & Lombardi, representing seriously injured clients since 1973.
Bean & Blend Cafe offers an array of decadent desserts, Italian specialty items, and a wide variety of breakfast and lunch offerings. From smoothies to seasonal lattes, acai bowls to fresh bagels, our family's promise is to serve the local community with wholesome food and a lot of love. Lose yourself in the tranquil setting while chatting the day away with friends and locals. Visit us at 1529 Route 206 in Tabernacle, New Jersey, or online at beanandblendcafe.com.
And we are back from Madden Field in Rahway, New Jersey. That's much better, Nick. As I butchered that ahead of our last commercial break, we did have an injury timeout following the first snap of the game. And to his feet and making his way over to the Sharks sideline is number 9, safety Tyson Stamper. We do not have a pronunciation guide for either side, so we're going to do our best. I had the Silverbacks halfback as Mackay Caesar. Hopefully that is correct. He's in the backfield once again alongside his quarterback, Zamar Wise, in the shotgun. 4 receivers wide. The Sharks crowd the line of scrimmage here. And the Silverbacks look to throw. It's a quick pass, short right, complete. And that is Isaiah Dews on the reception. He's tackled into the New Jersey bench, and that is enough for a Silverbacks first down.
And Rayshawn Roach Jr. laid the hit on that one, Joe, but he had to be very careful. He took his helmet off after the play. That sometimes can lead to a penalty, so I think if you're the Sharks, you're grateful that that wasn't a penalty, but that is a first down nonetheless for the Silverbacks and a good start after that first down run.
If you remove the helmet on your own, that is very much a penalty. And we actually had a play like that in the NFL last weekend in one of the games. A player's helmet inadvertently came off as a tackle was made, and that player had to petition that he did not remove it himself as a flag was initially thrown and then picked up. I don't recall what game that was, but I know I saw it.
I think I know what you're talking about,
last
too.
weekend.
I can't remember it either.
Trips to the right as Wise lines up in the shotgun. He takes the snap, he's looking left, and takes off up the middle. And the Sharks defense all over that one, as that looked like a designed quarterback draw.
I think that was Eric Marmolios on that tackle there, Joe, and he really saved what could have been a dangerous run right there for the Silverbacks if not made that tackle.
That will bring up second down and about 9. The Silverbacks getting some new personnel into the game. Wide receiver Jakeer Robinson jogs in from the bench and joins the huddle. Once again, New Jersey will come out with trips to the right on second down and 9. Wise flanked in the backfield by Caesar. How's that for a name for a player on the Silverbacks? Planet of the Apes, Caesar? Very fitting. And he makes another great move in the backfield, accelerates, and is tackled after a gain of about 5. And that will bring up a third down and 4.
I will say, Joe, never have seen any of those movies.
Really?
I've not seen one of those movies.
Very good movies, especially the new ones. The originals at times could be a bit campy, but I loved them as a kid, much like I loved Godzilla. If there was a team named the Zillas or the Lizards with a Godzilla logo, that would be pretty awesome. Maybe one day when I own a team, that'll be it. I've always been a fan of the monster movie genre.
You're also a fan of Sharks as well.
I'm very much a fan of Sharks as well. I am known around some parts of the tri-state as the Megalodon, but we won't go into the story behind that.
Just keep it at that.
Empty backfield, 5 receivers wide. It's 3rd and 4. Perhaps a long 3. And once again, the Silverbacks will go quarterback draw. There is running room for Wise. Good blocking from his wideouts. And that is a nice run for the quarterback as we have a flag at about the line of scrimmage. This one might be coming back.
Yeah, I had to think that's going to be holding there, Joe. Upcoming on the Silverbacks. That's going to push them back. And a very costly one. That would have given them the first down. And you notice on that play, they had 5 wide, no one in the backfield. Kind of trying to draw the Sharks off, with that design play. And a quarterback draw instantly as soon as the snap was made. But unfortunately for the Silverbacks, the holding will push them back.
It is a holding call against the Silverbacks, and there was a reason why the Silverbacks got such a good carry on that play and such good blocking on the outside. The holding probably had something to do with that. I think officially this is going to become a 3rd and 13 after what appeared to be a first down run.
Yeah, they had originally spotted a yard after the original first down marker, but they moved it back just a couple more yards. And now, as you mentioned, 3rd and a long 13. So once again, 5 wide upcoming here for the Silverbacks.
Once again, an empty backfield, 5 receivers wide. Wise will look to throw. He throws short into traffic over the middle, and that ball needed to be perfect, and it was, as Kashawn Glover came down with the reception. And that gets them about 2/3 of the way there, bringing up a 4th down and 4. And we'll see what the Silverbacks elect to do here.
Now, we are close to the Silverback sideline, Joe. I did hear punt was the original call-out. But with 4th and 4, this is a dangerous spot for the Sharks because if they do get drawn offside, that will lead to a first down. So let's see if they do, in fact, bring out the punt unit.
I see the quarterback in the huddle. That does not mean they are going for it, but it certainly appears as if they are huddling up to go for it here on 4th down. And indeed, the Silverbacks will come out in the shotgun. 3 receivers on the field. And they were 1 man short.
And they call a timeout.
Some of the New Jersey players a bit frustrated with their team's inability to get the right personnel out there, but that's a good situation to burn a timeout. This is obviously early in the game, but when you're faced with potentially giving the ball to the Sharks in plus territory, should you fail to convert here, I think that's the right decision. Call the timeout and make sure you have all the details ironed out ahead of this 4th down snap.
Yeah, I think also with the implication of this game and where these teams are currently in the standings, you can't really make that many mistakes in this game, so you want to get that right personnel for this 4th down play and figure out, are you trying to draw them offside to get the first down on penalty yardage, or do you have something drawn up offensively that you know can get you to that first down to the 6? Maybe a curl flat, a short curl flat that gets you to the 50-yard line, which is where the first down marker is.
Earlier in the drive, the Silverbacks connected on a short out to the near side. That was caught by Isaiah Dews. Perhaps that's something they go back to here on 4th and short. They need 4, and they will snap this one from their own 46-yard line. The Jersey defense looking to come up big early. The Silverbacks offense looking to keep this opening drive alive. Trips to the right, 4th and 4. Wise in the shotgun. He is flanked by Caesar. Sharks once again crowd the line of scrimmage. And the pass out of the backfield is incomplete. It looked like they may have been trying to set up a screen, but the back got out of the backfield ahead of his lineman, if that was indeed the play call. What do you think, Nick?
I think that definitely was a screen penalty right there, Joe, but you got to give credit to the pass rusher right there for the Sharks forcing that incompletion, because you saw the throw. It was a lot high, and I think that's what led to that being an incomplete pass and forcing the turnover on downs.
Well, if you take a look at that defensive alignment for the Sharks on that 4th down snap, you could see they had the line of scrimmage very crowded, and sometimes when the offensive line doesn't know who's coming, blocking assignments can get messed up. And on that last play, only 1 of the many Sharks in the box dropped back into coverage. The pressure was immediately on Wise. That affected the throw and the timing on that screen pass. The Sharks will hand it off on their first offensive snap, and bouncing it outside was Stephen Jones Jr. Good pursuit by the Silverbacks as he is taken down for a loss of 3 at the 49.
And some words being exchanged after that big hit. And obviously the Silverbacks, they are happy and showing their excitement after that hit was made on Stephen Jones Jr. A loss of 3 on the play makes the 2nd down, but also credit to the Sharks, by the way. James Bethea, he was the one that got the pressure on that screen pass to force that high errant throw, to force the incompletion.
A pair of Silverbacks rallying to make that last tackle as Jersey looks to pass. They're going deep, up the sideline, broken up. Good play in coverage by the safety, Jason Harrison Jr. He was draped all over the intended target, Lance Fisher.
And he's down right now, Joe. He took kind of a big shot at going down from where he was jumping up to make that deflection and then fall into the ground.
So once again, we have an injured player down, this time on the side of the Silverbacks. And with that, we might head to another commercial timeout. So, Nick, why don't we send it to break? When we come back, it is Sharks football, and it will be 3rd down and very long, ball at the Silverbacks' 49-yard line.
Edison Heating and Cooling, New Jersey's comfort provider since 1987. With over 100 factory-trained service and installation personnel and a fleet of over 100 vehicles, we are able to service our customers faster and more effectively than our competitors. Our team of customer care professionals are always on call for an in-home consultation. If you and your family are in need of an installation or service completed by expert technicians, done professionally and efficiently, you need Edison Heating and Cooling. It's what we do.
Representing a seriously injured person requires a lot of research and preparation, but it also means giving hope to the client.
Lombardi Law is always there for you whenever you need them. You can count on them at all times. Lombardi Law gave me hope when I had none.
When you hire the law firm of Lombardi & Lombardi, you're not just hiring one attorney. You're hiring the education, the knowledge, and the experience of all 10 attorneys in this law firm.
Lombardi & Lombardi, representing seriously injured clients since 1973.
Bean and Blend Cafe offers an array of decadent desserts, Italian specialty items, and a wide variety of breakfast and lunch offerings. From smoothies to seasonal lattes, acai bowl.
And we're back from Madden Field. 3rd down and long becomes 4th down and much longer. As Chris Colo goes down in the offensive backfield, the football came out after he was ruled down.
Now, Joe, however, I don't know if you've noticed, but the Silverbacks kind of jumped offside. That should have been a flag called on that play.
Let's get a look on replay.
There's a little bit of movement at that defensive line, and you see it right there.
Very close, but close and offsides is offsides.
Right.
So perhaps they missed it, but I always say, Nick, the man with the best angle made the call. Though, can you argue with that footage?
It's tough. I mean, you can you can move around the line, but you can't obviously jump over where that football is. And I think they got the benefit of the doubt. They didn't get that, flag called on them. So a big break for the Silverbacks there. They force a 3 and out, and now look at the football back on this upcoming punt.
Bit of a low snap, but a very good punt. This one lands just shy of the 20, played on a hop by Smith, and he is brought down at the 15-yard line. Great job there on special teams following what wasn't a great snap by the Sharks. A great punt followed by good kick coverage from that Jersey special teams unit. And the Silverbacks will take over at their own 15.
And taking a look back, Joe, I just looked through at the replay to see if that was offside on that play. That didn't look to be. It looked like the defender just avoided crossing where the football was on the ground. So good heads-up awareness and almost, as I mentioned, a big break for the Silverbacks there, not getting that penalty.
And a good no call by the officials. That's why they are in striped shirts and you and I are in polos.
Yep. Well, you are.
I was giving you the credit as well. To be fair, we didn't get you a polo yet.
Yeah. We'll get there.
One day. Spread shotgun set. 4 receivers wide for the Silverbacks. Caesar in the backfield alongside Wise. And Wise will look to throw. He airs it out. Right sideline. One-on-one coverage. And an incredible catch along the sideline. Isaiah Dews with the catch. He went down low and got it as that ball dropped in over the defensive back's head.
I mean, how did he make this catch, Joe? This is an incredible throw, first off, and then an even more incredible catch down that sideline and the wherewithal to get both feet in bounds as well. Incredible play for the Silverbacks, and now they are right at midfield.
A tremendous play, not only to bring that football in, but to keep his feet in bounds.
Some might say that was a stupendous play right there.
Some might say such a thing. However, it is not WrestleMania weekend 2023.
True.
As Caesar takes the carry up the middle, and a nice run for him as he picks up about 7, bringing up a 2nd down and short.
And see what happens right there after that big, long passing play right there. They set up the run on the very next play, and they got a good chunk of yardage right there, getting 7 yards. So, we talk about how, you could set the passing plays up with a good running game, but that time right there, you saw that the good pass right there leads to a nice 7-yard run on 1st down.
Once again, the Silverbacks will line up with trips to the right. That's become a very familiar look early in this game. Caesar in the backfield alongside Wise. Wise directing traffic ahead of the 2nd down snap. And he will look to throw and take off quickly. He plants his foot and does not get enough for the first down. Looks to be about 2 yards short. And that will bring up a 3rd down, 2 to go. Nick, if it was 4-down territory earlier, it is certainly 4-down territory now.
Yes, I definitely expect another quarterback run design here on this upcoming 3rd down and short. They've been running the ball pretty efficiently with that quarterback draw. So I would expect maybe they try and maybe draw them off with another 5-wide set, and he's in the backfield alone, but that is not the case.
Well, we know they have 2 downs to get it. The entire playbook is open. Once again, trips to the right. One receiver tight to the line of scrimmage on the left. And Caesar will get the handoff and the first down. As
he got upended.
He is flipped and driven head first into the turf. Don't let them tell you that the tackle animations in Madden are not realistic, Nick. That is a video game tackle right there.
I mean, I haven't been playing Madden this year for good reason, but that is certainly a Madden type of tackle that we saw right there. We saw kind of the similar thing last night as well in the Oak Ridge game.
That is some display of strength to lift the ball carrier off the ground and drive him down that way.
Looked like a spine buster you would see in a wrestling match.
Don't talk wrestling on PDF. Dave is not a fan.
That's the only comment I'll make about it. That's it.
You and I, on the other hand, attended WrestleMania.
True. That was a good time.
Sure was. The Silverbacks appear dressed for Mania weekend in Philly. Wise looking to throw, flushed out of the pocket, and he is surrounded by 4 Sharks defenders as he is sacked for a loss of 2.
Yeah, I think what you've been seeing also, Joe, the last couple of plays from the Sharks defense, they are forcing a lot of pressure, and that's forcing some of these quarterback scrambles. Now, they've been able to get away with the Silverbacks the last couple of times, but that time, no room to run, and a loss of 2 resulting on that play.
2nd down and long coming up now. Ball spotted at the Sharks' 37-yard line. We've seen exclusively shotgun from the Silverbacks tonight. That will not change here on 2nd down. It's a spread look, 2 receivers wide left, 2 receivers wide right. Perhaps one man a bit tighter to the line of scrimmage on the left side. One man in the backfield alongside Wise. Wise looking middle. It's tipped and falls incomplete. That is an incomplete pass. And we'll see if on replay we can make out which Sharks defender got a hand on it at the line of scrimmage.
It's going to be tough to tell. There's about 4 or 5 Sharks in the backfield that were forcing pressure on the quarterback, and certainly one of their hands got in on there. Let's see if I can get a look at it. I'm trying to see the end of that. It's I think that's Julius Tobe. I think that was him. The team leader in sacks was 5 on the season. I think he was the one that got the hand on it.
Sacks are not the only way to make your presence felt in the offensive backfield. Obviously, the tackles for a loss, but batted passes very often can be an overlooked stat. One of the best to ever do it, J.J. Watt, a master of the batted ball at the line of scrimmage.
There's a reason they call him J.J. Swat.
Absolutely right. TJ is pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Pretty good. 3rd and long. For the first time, Silverbacks are out of the shotgun. They line up in the pistol. And the handoff goes nowhere. Blowing that play up in the backfield is James Bethea.
Yeah, that was just an unbelievable play, Joe. Quickly off the snap. It looked like maybe a little bit of a broken play right there for the Silverbacks on that handoff. And it just led to an unbelievable tackle, as you mentioned. And now brings up a 4th and long. And I'm curious to see if they maybe try to go for it. It's tough because they're near midfield. It looks like they're going to punt it.
Yeah.
But I think also with the amount of yardage you have to get the first down, I think that's another reason why they have to punt it in the spot.
I think given how much the Sharks have pressured defensively early in this game, I'm a bit surprised they ran it. there. The Sharks have been committed to that pressure package, and if you hand it off and they're coming, it's going to be tough to find running room on an extended handoff. Maybe if they tossed it to the left, there may have been some running room. Even then, we've seen the speed of this Sharks defense on full display. However, it will be a punt. The Silverbacks do have multiple players wearing the same number for some numbers, so I would guess that this was Rady Rojas Portilla on the punt, wearing number 8, as Kareem Stewart is wrapped up inside the 15, which is where the Sharks drive will get started.
Not often do you see a tackle made where they have the baseball outlier for the field here, but the only all the time you really could see that, and you would know this from being a Raiders fan, would be at the old Oakland Coliseum when the Raiders used to play in Oakland. So that's kind of an interesting thing we see on the field here tonight with that baseball diamond out just right towards the right sideline of the end zone.
The story of my football fandom and my fandom of all different sports teams is a bit complicated, but I was not a Raiders fan when they were playing on the multi-purpose field. I grew up a Jets fan. Those who know me well know why I'm no longer a Jets fan or a Mets fan.
They looked good on Thursday.
Mets looking very good right now.
Are they winning right now?
Not sure.
Last I checked, they were tied.
I'm a Phillies fan now.
You are a Phillies fan, that's true.
I'm a Phillies fan now. Shotgun look for the Sharks. Chris Colo throws to his left complete, and breaking a tackle was Saru. Shamar Saru on the reception, and the Sharks pick up about 5 on the completion.
He had the game-winning touchdown, Joe, in that matchup that we covered earlier on the season against the Bears. Had that touchdown with 16 seconds to go, and giving the Sharks the win in that one, as he gets about, I think you said 5 yards in that play.
Motion man out of the backfield is Bethea, and the throw goes the other way. And that is ruled a catch. I wasn't sure if that ball came out on the way down. Pass complete to Devon Hemingway.
Yeah, Hemingway has a couple of receptions on the season. He's one of those 4 receivers I mentioned earlier on that has over 100 yards on the year. Has a couple touchdowns as well.
That was a 7 in the backfield, not 1. I should have known. And Stephen Jones Jr. gets the carry here as he fights forward and picks up about 4 yards on first down.
Kind of looked like Isaiah Pacheco type of run, an angry run up the middle for Jones right there. We saw him take that big hit earlier, so maybe that brought out a little bit more aggression in him after that last previous run.
Sharks coming to the line quickly with each snap as a whistle blows.
There's a flag on the Sharks, near the Sharks sideline.
See what the call is here.
It was against the Sharks offense. I think they got called for a false start.
And that's going to back them up a bit behind where they started on this set of downs. Should be a 2nd and 11. Sometimes when you try and run your offense with a bit of tempo, those miscues can happen, and you are prone to those kind of mistakes. It takes a very coordinated offense with a lot of chemistry to run with that kind of pace and come to the line of scrimmage instantly on every play. And when you can do that, a lot of credit goes to the coaching staff. You have to be very well coached to execute that kind of offense. 2nd and long, and the throw goes left, complete. Heading up the field is Fisher, and he deals out a vicious stiff arm and has words.
He better be careful, Joe. He doesn't want to get taunting and get a penalty right there.
I think if the officials determined that he was responding,
that's the end of the first quarter as
well,
well.
One of the Silverbacks, he may get a bit more leeway, but that will end the first quarter. And Nick, true to expectations, it is a defensive battle early on. Our score after 1, 0-0. We come back, quarter number 2 from Madden Field.
Cafe offers an array of decadent desserts, Italian specialty items, and a wide variety of breakfast and lunch offerings. From smoothies to seasonal lattes, acai bowls to fresh bagels, our family's promise is to serve the local community with wholesome food and a lot of love. Lose yourself in the tranquil setting while chatting the day away with friends and locals. Visit us at 1529 Route 206 in Tabernacle, New Jersey, or online at beanandblendcafe.com.
And we are back for the second quarter as we will get a second look at a big play that opens up quarter number 2. Nick, run it back from the beginning.
Yeah, we'll see in just a moment on a big passing play right there. Or excuse me, it was a big passing play right there for the Sharks that almost got them the touchdown.
The Sharks taken down at the 1. And here's a quick look at it. A very brief break between quarters. Not much yardage to cover as the two teams switch sides.
And there was a timeout called by the Silverbacks as well, Joe.
Big completion off the tip. Great coordination by the receiver on that play. I believe that was indeed the tight end. Number 81, Justin Weaver, though he is listed as a wideout, was lined up near the line of scrimmage over the middle. And you'll see him on this replay one more time, tip it to himself.
Yeah, he had to go up with one hand just to tip it to himself, but a great wherewithal play. And then not only to make that, after tipping it to himself, he just gets right down the sideline. And if not for this late tackle, easily would have scored the touchdown to start the second quarter.
A big tackle right at the goal line, giving the Silverbacks one more chance to make a stand defensively. A timeout was called following that big completion. Didn't see who it was that called the timeout. So we'll try and figure out who it was that called timeout. Nick, you saw it was the Silverbacks? All right.
They're down to one timeout now left in the first half.
And that could be a factor late in this quarter if they have the ball and are moving it downfield. Perhaps if they're looking to get it back with some time on the clock, we'll see if those timeouts they burned come back to bite them. First and goal, Jersey. Criscolo in the shotgun. Low snap, fumbled, and I think the Silverbacks have it. And they do. A costly miscue by the Sharks in the red zone. First and goal turns into a turnover.
Yeah, that's a big break again for the Silverbacks right there, Joe. Getting that low snap fumble and quickly pouncing on it to get the recovery, which you'll see here on the replay. You see the low snap. Jones Jr. tried to dive on it to make sure they didn't lose the possession, but it was recovered by the Silverbacks. And now, even though they are backed up into their own end zone, they do avoid giving up points on that drive.
Brady Rojas Portilla on the recovery has given the Silverbacks the ball deep in their own territory. However, they will certainly take it, as there was a late flag on the play. So
might have been. I didn't see what the call was, but I think it could have been, maybe could have been excessive celebration after the recovery happened.
I think there was a personal foul called against the Silverbacks, and the Sharks better hope so, because giving New Jersey 15 yards here would be a huge mistake, and one that you can't afford to make, compounding the miscue on the turnover. We'll see if it was indeed a personal foul. It looks like the offense is creeping back out onto the field for Jersey here, but the officials are discussing this with the Silverbacks bench now. The Jersey offense heads back to their sideline, but
yeah, there was they called it was on the Sharks. I'm sorry, the Silverbacks show. It was a penalty on the Silverbacks.
There's been no official signal from the referee yet.
However, I think it's what I was alluding to. I think it was an I think it was an excessive celebration after the recovery, because the Silverbacks still have their offense on the field, so they do have the football, but they're even further now back into their own end, so they're pretty much near the 1 yard line, or maybe at exactly the 1 yard line on this upcoming play.
And how big was that tackle at the goal line now? Weaver appeared to be gone and was tracked down just inside the 5. That tackle proves huge. Wise in the shotgun. He will take this snap from his own end zone. And they hand it off up the middle. Caesar fighting for any yards he can get, but he is stood up after a gain of less than a yard. And in fact, it looks like they give him forward progress out to the 6 or the 7, so a gain of 2 on the play. Those are 2 big yards, Nick.
Yeah, I think if you're the Silverbacks in the spot show, obviously you want to try to get out of the end zone. Even, if they can get a first down, even if they don't get any points on this drive, at least get yourself some room for your punter to try, get the ball down the field and give your defense a little bit more breathing room. Otherwise, it could lead to maybe the Sharks getting back on offense with good field position.
2nd down and 8. Ball spotted at about the 5, it looks like. So they started at the 3.
Yeah.
Which would make sense given the penalty post-snap. Wise in the shotgun. Wants to throw. Quick screen set up. It is incomplete, though. The receiver continued to play on. I thought he bobbled it and dropped it.
He was trying to play it off as if it was a backwards pass.
Well, you wouldn't want to do that if you're the offense. I guess if you pick it back up,
if you pick it back up, then yeah.
Yeah, if you pick it back up, you would, but that certainly was not a backwards pass. And that's a big drop because that looked to be set up pretty well. You might see it here on the replay.
Let's see quickly before this upcoming 3rd down. You see you try to go with the bubble screen, and
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was set up pretty well. They weren't going to get a huge gain out of it, but getting out of the shadow of your own goalposts, always very important. 3rd and 8. Sharks defense looking to give it right back to the offense after a huge play set up goal to go, only to be followed by a turnover on the fumbled snap. Silverbacks looking to keep their offense on the field. Spread shotgun look, 4 receivers wide, 3rd and 8. Wise throws, incomplete. And there was contact, but no flag on the play and not much protest from the Silverbacks receiver. The intended target on that play looked to be Jakeer Robinson.
And, Joe, I think they're going to be kicking themselves for this one. If you look at this upcoming replay, Nadir Smith was wide open in the middle of the field. He had a 1st down and a lot more yardage as well. You'll see him right here. He was wide open.
Yep, certainly was. If he makes that catch, I think the only man he has to beat is the safety.
Yeah. That's a tough one because when you're backed up into your end zone, you have to pretty much make a quick first read. You don't really have much time to really decipher the play, let the play run out and see who's open on that field. But as you see now, Joe, look how far the punter is in his own end zone. This is a dangerous spot. We've already seen the last couple of weeks where those Obridge games, those high snaps lead to the safeties.
And that is a great punt that takes a great Silverbacks bounce. Can they make the tackle? Not immediately, but they do eventually bring the return man down across the 40-yard line. It looks like there may be an injured player down on the field, but he gets up and appears okay. On that return, I believe, was number 19, Justin Sanders. That may have also been Rashawn Roach Jr. I couldn't tell if that was 18 or 19. I think it was 19. We are rather far from the Sharks sideline, and we are calling the game through screens on the window. A very weird window setup here where they have screens on the windows. We could not run wires outside unless we went out the door, but our table was in the car, and when you tell me I have access to a press box, I take full advantage.
Yeah, I have to.
Though calling the games under the lights can be fun.
Yeah, we saw that last night.
Parking was a bit of a nightmare. We had quite the walk to get here, a lot of equipment, and did not add the table to that list. So we're in the press box, nice and comfortable on a beautiful Saturday evening. Sharks have the football, spread shotgun set. Chris Colo pump fakes, pulls it down, rolls to his right. He has plenty of time, and he will take off with the football as he steps out of bounds across the 40. So, Nick, I thought that the return man had been tackled across the 40. Did they back them up 10 after that return?
I think they did. Yeah, there might have been a late flag that we didn't see originally. But you saw that last play, Joe. Chris Colo was looking to go down the field somewhere, just kept holding on, at the pump fake as well as he gets a bubble screen. And another great hit. Silverbacks are not letting that one happen. They lose about 2 yards for the Sharks.
Big hit on that play, dealt out by Dennis Zurakainen. I hope that was close.
I think it's about officially 3rd and 3 upcoming.
That pronunciation, a tough one.
And they jumped
and
off.
The Silverbacks jumped off sides, but they blow it dead, and fortunately so, as the Sharks continued to play on. The wide open receiver was Shamar Saru. If they let that continue, he's off for 6.
You see quickly on the replay that last neutral zone, and you're right, John. I mean, not blown dead. That is easily a walk-in touchdown for the Sharks right there. They do get the first down, though.
Very true that it would have been a walk-in touchdown, but only because the Silverbacks stopped playing. And you hate to see a game that has been such a defensive battle early allow the first score in that fashion.
Right.
I don't think that's the way that you want to see the first points put up on the board.
Both these teams want to earn the points.
Well, the teams will take it. As a good pump fake sets up a throw downfield, incomplete. That was a perfect ball from Criscolo. He dropped it between a corner and a safety, but the big hit dislodged the football as Fisher had it pop out of his arms.
Yeah, that was a tough catch for Fisher as well on that play, Joe, because you see the safety incoming. He's got the corner on his back, and it bobbled. He tried to make the catch after, but it just no avail with that many defenders around him as well.
Second and 10, handoff up the middle. Jones Jr., good burst out of the backfield, and he picks up a first down.
Yeah, Jones, these last couple of runs, Joe, has been doing great in the backfield, and he's really hitting that acceleration as soon as he gets the handoff from his quarterback. And as you see here, they'll go quick tempo once again. They get the first down at the 45-yard line.
Jersey right back to the hurry-up. Criscolo will hand it off. Jones Jr., nice move, good blocking, leaps over a tackler, and powers his way across the 35.
And he got himself another first down as well on that run. Back-to-back strong first down runs for Jones Jr.
First down, Sharks, back-to-back hard runs by Jones Jr. And we talked about it, the rushing yards per game, not quite matching with the prolific passing attack this season for Jersey. Jones Jr. putting that narrative to rest tonight. He takes the handoff for the third straight play. Bounces off one tackler, but not the two that came in after, as he is taken down for no gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
Might have given him a yard. They do give him one, maybe a couple of inches up further. So it's either 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 9. But for the Silverbacks defense, they're very happy to make that tackle after those previous two runs from Jones Jr.
Those were some hard-fought inches. 2nd and a long 9. Sharks in the shotgun. And they are looking to throw left.
Wide open.
Complete and wide open was Fisher. He is brought down deep in the secondary. And that's a big tackle by the safety on that play. Troy Smith wears number 31. He's listed on the Silverbacks roster as a wide receiver. But if Fisher is able to make him miss, he's in for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's the one guy on this team, Joe, you don't want to leave open as well.
Whistles blow. Not quite sure why.
I believe there was an incompletion.
I think there may have been an injury on the play, though. I thought perhaps one of the Silverbacks left the field a bit gingerly. That does not appear to be the case.
Well, here's the previous first down conversion. You see the running back Jones Jr. goes in motion, and it left Fisher wide open because that guy that was guarding Fisher had to move in on the motion and Jones Jr. But you mentioned it. Not for the safety making the tackle. Fisher's going in for the end zone for another touchdown this season.
Pre-snap motion, always capable of catching a defense, looking for something else. And on that particular play.
So, Joe, if you notice, there was a flag on the field, so it was a 5-yard penalty. It must have been a false start on the Sharks offense, so it's now 1st and about 15.
1st and long. Still no score as we play on here in the second quarter. Sharks have put together back-to-back good-looking drives. They look to cap this one off with a score. Criscolo fakes the handoff out of the pistol and throws right, complete. Making a move up the field before going down was Hemingway, and they'll give him about 3.
Yeah, it looked like the Silverbacks originally were looking for an inside handoff to Jones Jr. on that one, but Criscolo held the ball and threw it to the outside to Hemingway for that bubble screen for a pickup of 3.
It's not often you see that kind of pressure on the quarterback, who is then forced to scramble, and a screen pass still able to be completed. A lot of the time, pressure blows those plays up before they can get off the ground. Second and 12. Ball at the 20. Chris Colo takes the snap. He's looking left. Throws that way over the middle. And that is caught for a Sharks touchdown. On the touchdown reception, it is Saru over the middle. And Jersey goes in front 6-0.
And a good throw right there from Chris. And you see this also, Joe, without him getting touched upon before getting to the end zone. He was down at the 1 yard line.
He was. That was my hesitation.
Yeah, but he did not get touched as he went into the end zone. So that led to the touchdown happening, as you'll see here on the replay.
Depending on whether it's the semi-pro game, and from league to league can even vary there, high school game.
Now, if you look also, Joe, look how far this PAT is going to happen. I think there was another penalty that happened.
I don't think so, Nick. I think it's just
how long
an NFL PAT.
Okay.
I think it's an NFL PAT. This would be about a 32-yarder.
I was trying to remember if we saw that in the first game with the Bears, but I don't think there was a PAT attempted after that touchdown was scored.
Anthony Maloney, the kicker. The Silverbacks got a great jump, and they block it. But there is a flag. The flag on the field along the near side and far side.
And you mentioned that good jump. I think they got the jump just a bit early.
Too good.
Yeah.
That was certainly an offside. So no block. And we'll do it again. This time from the 10.
Just see quickly here on the replay. Just a bit of a early head start trying to block that PAT attempt.
So as I said, they'll move it up 5. Also, just to put it on the table, they're not going to do it here, but with the offsides, could they elect to take that and go for 2, half the distance to the goal from the 1? Can you do that if you elect to attempt the extra point?
Yeah, you can change your mind.
Yeah, I thought so. If I'm not mistaken, the LAL plays with NFL rules.
So now this is going to be kicked from the 10-yard line.
As I suspected. Pretty good jump here as well, and it's blocked again. No flags down, and the Silverbacks will not be able to return it. However, the extra point blocked a second time, and on this occasion, they do so legally. And now, after the play, multiple flags come in as there was an altercation of some kind, words being exchanged, and the officials saw a bit too much there.
Has been a little chippy here in the first half between these two teams, but it goes with the old saying, Joe, if you don't see it the first time you do it, try again. And once you saw right there, another blocked PAT after the initial one was called back after the encroachment on the defense. Silverbacks avoid a 7-0 deficit, but we'll obviously see it's going to be offsetting penalties definitely for these two squads, and we'll have the ensuing kickoff upcoming.
And we've covered our share of semi-pro and arena and high school football here on PDF. And I think, for the most part, the reason a lot of teams don't kick isn't because they don't have a capable kicker. It's because they aren't able to block for that kicker. And thank you to Earl in the live chat. The LAL plays 2 points for the kick and 1 point for the run of the pass. And you know what? I did create our rules graphic all the way back in week 1. I was not on that call, but I did make the graphics, and I remember that. So I should have known that. That graphic is actually somewhere on the computer, Nick. Perhaps we can find it and put it up there. I'll locate it while we have some time here. Let's see if I could find it very quickly. Meanwhile, they're setting up for a Sharks kickoff here. Jersey leading 6-0. We'll have to give it a better look in the second half. There is one more place I can check. Now, I'm taking a look at where the ball was spotted. It appears that the personal fouls were offsetting. We got it, Nick. So we'll have that up on the screen shortly. Kick on its way. It's taken once again by Nadir Smith, working toward the sideline, and he's tackled across the 30. So while we have a moment, Nick, we'll pull up that rules graphic. We'll get it downloaded from our online drive and drop it into the broadcast. That being said, I was probably about 99% correct. Most of the rules are standard NFL rules. There are conventional kickoffs, so that is one difference. It's hard to believe the NFL is the only organization that adopted
the XFL rule. That was the XFL
change.
Original doing that new kickoff that we've seen on every game so far this season.
Well, very quickly, ahead of first down, or perhaps following first down, we'll get a look at the LAL rules. But thank you, Earl, for the reminder in the live chat. First down, Silverbacks. The ball was spotted at the New Jersey 32-yard line. Wise in the shotgun. Smith the motion man. And the handoff goes to the man in the backfield. I believe that is number 24, Brian White, with his jersey tucked into his pads. That is indeed White. And on his first carry, he picks up about 4 yards. Nick, let's get a look at those highlighted rules in the LAL.
Take this off for just a moment, and here are the rules.
All right, as I said, standard NFL rules with conventional kickoffs. The PAT rules are reversed. As we mentioned, 2 points for a kicked extra point and 1 point for a run or a pass. More traditionally known as the 2-point conversion. However, here it will be known as a 1-point conversion.
Right.
Trips to the right. The back remains Brian White alongside Wise in the offensive backfield. Wise looking left. Throws up the sideline, and there was a lot of contact, which draws a flag. And I'm not really sure how the defensive back can argue with that call, unless he's claiming.
I think he was saying it was uncatchable. I think that's what he was.
It was
going
uncatchable
at.
because the receiver was blockaded all the way up the field. We'll get a look on replay. You know what? Might have been uncatchable.
Yeah, I think that was. I think it was.
It might have been uncatchable.
I think that's why he was complaining about that play. It was thrown over the receiver's head, but you could make the case maybe the receiver couldn't get to there because of the initial contact.
You're never going to get that ruled uncatchable when the contact is that blatant. That being said, as a defensive back, you have no idea that's uncatchable immediately out of the quarterback's hand.
Right.
And that's right about where the contact occurred.
That was Singleton that drew the penalty flag on that one.
Derek Carden in coverage as they hand off to White up the middle for a loss of 1. So, Nick, we mentioned it before, the dynamic kickoff. What's your opinion on it after 2 weeks of NFL football?
I'm not a big fan of the new kickoff. I mean, I understand why they're doing it in terms of trying to make the kickoff, more exciting and not a lot of touchbacks happening. And there also another factor is you're trying to prevent a lot more injuries from not happening as well. But I don't know. I'm just used to the traditional style of play as well. That I was accustomed to when I was growing up watching football.
I agree with you. Sean Glover was the motion man as the handoff goes up the middle once again.
I believe that was White once again.
Now that was Purdy Nahum, who wears number 25.
Okay.
I do believe that is his first carry of the game. I didn't see if he got in there the play before. That will bring up 3rd down and 5 to go. Once again, the conversation comes up, Nick. This very well could be 4-down territory yet again.
Yeah, I would have to think so. They've already gone for it on 4th down in this spot in the field so far in this first half. So I would think, it's a 6-0 game, but I would think that they most likely would go for it again on 4th down if they don't convert here.
Silverbacks would love to make that a moot point. It's 3rd and 5. Wise in the shotgun, 4 receivers wide. He will fake the handoff, in trouble, steps forward, gets hit, and nearly intercepted. Carden was right there, and he could not bring it in.
Now, Joe, did he initially drop it, or did the hit knock the ball out to force the incompletion?
I can't believe Wise got that throw off downfield. It might have been the hit that dislodged that football from Carden. We'll see here. But I'm sure that's one he believes he should have had, and I think I would agree.
Yeah,
Once again, Nick, 4th down.
Yeah, I think Singleton saved an interception. I think that tackle he made prevented the interception from happening for Carden. So, once again, the Silverbacks get a big break, but you mentioned it. They go for it again on 4th down. They really could use this one before this first half ends.
You have to think that we are closing in on the 2-minute warning. Wise in the shotgun, trips to his right. And he will look to throw. He's looking left and is flushed that way. He fires, sideline complete. And that is enough for a Silverbacks 1st down. And after making what may have been a turnover-saving hit, it is Dustin Singleton picking up the 1st down on that reception.
And it's a great comeback route from Singleton on this play, Joe. And he had the wherewithal to know where the 1st down marker was to make that catch. And then not only do that, but to get his 2 feet in bounds to make the reception and extend this drive for the Silverbacks.
That was a good-looking completion on 4th down. Unfazed by the pressure was Wise. He scrambled to his left, knew exactly where his receiver was going to be, and coming back with plenty of room to spare past the sticks was Dustin Singleton. Trips to the right once again, 1st and 10. Handoff goes nowhere. Nahum wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 3, and it will be 2nd down and 13.
Yeah, once again, a quick handoff that got blown up in the backfield by that Sharks defense, and we've seen a bunch of that happen so far in this game, whether it be on an inside zone handoff or on just a regular pass attempt for the Silverbacks in this one. So that loss of 3 now makes it 2nd and long.
And the Sharks defense has done a really good job up front, making things difficult on the Silverbacks here. They haven't had many 1st downs that have come on 1st or 2nd down. There have been a lot of 2nd and longs, a lot of 3rd and medium to 3rd and long. Credit to the Silverbacks. They have found some ways to stay on the field, but this Jersey defensive front has made it really difficult, especially on the ground.
As they always say, Joe, you got to win the game in the battle of the trenches.
Sharks bring pressure on 2nd and long, and Wise escapes. He took a big hit at the 35. He will be marked down 1 yard ahead of that at the 34. And Nick, once again, 3rd and long.
Yeah, and curious what they'll draw up on this upcoming play, Joe. I think it's about 3rd and 7 for the Silverbacks in this play. But if you saw Wise on that play, had to kind of take a quick instep towards the inside of the field, because towards the outside there was really no room to run with that outside defender. So a nice move by Wise to get some extra yards as well.
Sharks on just about every play in this game have had no fewer than 6 in the box. In many cases, they've crept in a 7th man and have showed pressure over the line of scrimmage. Once again, the Silverbacks look to throw. They're going deep. Wise airs it out. End zone! And a flag flies, but I believe that may have been caught. No, it came loose right at the end, but a flag is down at the goal line, and this may move the Silverbacks into scoring position.
Well, the question is, Joe, which pass interference is it? Because there also was kind of a push-off from the receiver, but did the push-off happen because of the initial contact is the question.
The action taking place quite far away from us on that last play. The flag came in a mass of 3 bodies, and Nick, it is indeed pass interference on the defense ahead of what was nearly an incredible catch in the end zone.
2-minute warning as well, Joe.
And now the clock becomes a major factor. If the Silverbacks can score here, they go in front, or I should say they even the score at 6, but would have a chance to go in front and keep the ball out of the hands of Jersey late in this first half. Should they choose to manage the clock that way, it would be tough to run off 2 minutes. They'd have to take 4 plays to score it. But at the very least, I think you like to take at least 2. Force Jersey to use a timeout here. And perhaps run the clock down to about a minute.
And with that penalty happening, the ball got spotted at the 4-yard line. So it's going to be 1st and goal for the Silverbacks on their next upcoming play. So they very well could just run this ball right here, milk some clock, and then force the Sharks, as you mentioned, to call, draw one of those timeouts that they have left before, if they want to have some time before the first half ends.
I think you'd like to force Jersey to use at least 1 timeout.
They might have done it right there.
That would be huge.
It
and
was.
Indeed, Jersey calls timeout ahead of 1st and goal. And Nick, that one hurts if you're the Sharks.
Yeah, I think they didn't have the right personnel maybe potentially on that play, so they had to burn a timeout, as you mentioned. But that's a big break again for the Silverbacks. I keep saying it, but the Sharks now have just 2 timeouts left in the half. You gotta believe the Silverbacks are going to probably run this, on this next upcoming play, and that might force Jersey to again call a timeout. And who knows how much time they'll have left if they're able to get the football back with probably a couple of seconds left in this first half, depending on how quick the Silverbacks score.
Well, obviously, you never want to fool around in a go-to-go situation. You are trying to score on each and every snap if you're the Silverbacks. Should you fail to get in on 1st and goal, that is not a big deal. And now, because Jersey has used a timeout, if they use one more following a stop on 1st and goal, they are left with just 1 remaining. And when you have perhaps just a minute and a half, maybe a bit less to go before halftime with the football, every timeout is precious.
And I will say, keep in mind, remember the last time we had the scenario, the Sharks were on the other end of it, where the Silverbacks called a timeout in the goal line. The next play was a fumble on a botched snap. So maybe the Sharks are looking for some own magic themselves.
The Silverbacks in the strong pistol look. We saw this last on 3rd and long earlier, and they lost about 4 or 5 on a run. I believe that's Nahum in the backfield. They fake the handoff to him, and Wise is flushed out left, running out of time. He throws it away.
Watch your cars out there.
Wise was very fortunate to even have the opportunity to throw that ball away. He very easily could have been sacked and did a nice job to escape to his left.
Yeah, he was looking for that slant route up the middle, trying to get the touchdown pass, but the pressure was too much for him to even get that throw off, and had to scroll out and throw it away. But not going to lie, Joe, I was kind of surprised they went to throw it on that 1st down play. I was expecting maybe them to run the ball on 1st down and try to maybe burn another Sharks timeout.
Well, perhaps they thought that on the other side, Jersey was expecting a run and perhaps looking to catch him off guard. They go with the play-action pass, but that puts your quarterback in a very dangerous spot. Second and goal. Ball at the 4. Once again, the Silverbacks in the strong pistol set. Wise, hands off. Nahum up the middle. Big collision. And a touchdown. A strong run on that play by Purdy Nahum. And he takes it in for 6 to tie the score.
And that was what I was expecting on 1st down, Joe, that them just try to pound the rock up the middle and try to get that touchdown. But as you mentioned, maybe trying to fool them off guard with that 1st down play. But Nahum gets in for the score, evens this one up at 6. And now let's see what they do, Joe. Do they maybe go for the 1 to give themselves the 1-point lead, or do they try to go for the PAT and get a 2-point lead before the half?
I think it comes down to whichever of the 2 options you're more confident in. I think in a tie game, you don't need to have either the 1 or the 2. Whether you have more confidence in the 2-point after touchdown or the 1-point conversion, we will find out in just a few moments, because that will be the option they go with. The ball is spotted at the 2.
So I think they would be going for the 1-point conversion.
They're going for the 1-point conversion. Yeah. It is so odd to say 1-point conversion.
I know. I'm glad someone brought that up, because score would have definitely been wrong if that PAT was attempted earlier and it was
That's
good.
actually a very good point. Earl with the save on that one. Silverbacks come out in an empty shotgun set.
Expect Wise to run here, Joe.
I think that's a pretty good bet, but beware the rollout and a short pass into the flat as well. I think he was looking to throw. The Sharks never gave him a chance. No opportunity to scramble up the middle or get that football out. The 1-point conversion unsuccessful, and we remain tied at 6.
Yeah, I think he was once again looking for that slant route up the middle, but you saw the pressure forcing him to potentially, scramble outside of the pocket and try to get something out of nothing, but just nothing to avail right there, and it keeps this game tied at 6. Like we mentioned in the pregame show, this is kind of what we expected from these two teams. A nice, hard-hitting matchup, low-scoring affair, and we've seen a couple of big plays on the offensive side, but the defenses have certainly been out to play here in this first half.
No question about it, Nick. These two defenses have had a pretty good half. That being said, the pass interference call in the end zone against the Sharks, obviously a huge call, and very easily Jersey could be in front by a score were it not for the fumble in goal to go when they possessed it at the 5-yard line. So we are tied at 6, and for the Sharks, those 6 points are the first points they have allowed since all the way back in week 1.
Yeah. And to think, I mentioned in the pregame, the biggest thing that the only thing that really the Sharks have done wrong this season, Joe, has been their penalty yardage. And that proved to be right there on that last drive. That pass interference cost them 6 points and has now tied this game at 6.
So we await the Silverbacks kickoff. We would estimate that there's probably about 1 minute and 30 seconds to 1 minute and 40 seconds
There's
left.
definitely a minute and change left
in the
first
half. A minute and change,
half.
that's right. The Sharks have just one timeout. That being said, Nick, the way they've moved the ball, shouldn't they have one left?
I believe they have 2 left.
Maybe you're right. Oh, right. They didn't have to burn one on second down. You're right. You're right.
I hope I'm right at least.
You're right. You're right. Incomplete pass. He had to throw it away.
Yeah.
And then the next carry got in. You are absolutely right. Kickoff on its way. And whistles as a flag is down. At the point of the kickoff, it's going to be a penalty against the Silverbacks.
Yeah, you can ill afford to have that in a kickoff. That's, when you're a special teams coach, that's one thing that really irritates you when you get a false start on a ensuing kickoff. So pushes it back 5 yards and gives the Sharks a little bit more field to play with on the next attempt.
So for those asking about names in the live chat, specifically in this case, Chakai, we have a roster from Hosted Sports. That is the roster we are going by. We were told that roster is correct. So whatever name a player is going by on Hosted Sports, that is the name that we have this evening. So for those asking about names, that is where we are getting these from. If you are certain of a correction, by all means, let us know in the live chat.
Already saved us once tonight.
Absolutely. Though I should have known about the 2-point extra point kick as the tackle is made just short of the 45. So that penalty backed the Silverbacks up on the kickoff, and that afforded the Sharks some good field position following the return by Rashawn Roach Jr.
Yeah, we've seen Rashawn Roach Jr. involved a lot tonight, Joe, in this game. On the defensive front, certainly, and then it makes that return to the 44-yard line. So we'll see what happens now. I'm not sure how much time left yet. As we mentioned, it's probably about a minute left in this first half. And with the 2 timeouts left for the Sharks, there's certainly time to play with before this half ends.
That really opens up the playbook, starting this drive at your own 44-yard line. You can afford to run the ball here if you want to, with 2 timeouts. And
the way Jones has been running, too. I mean, he's had some good runs in this game.
He's not in right now. That's Rob Jackson in the backfield. Jones Jr. had some nice hard runs earlier in this game.
Maybe expect Jackson potentially to get a screen pass, maybe try to fool the defenders.
Very often in these spots, you'll see teams bring in their pass catching back. Not quite sure if that's the case here. We'll see. Jackson in motion to the right of Criscolo. He is looking left. He throws that way and is intercepted! Picked off by Rady Rojas Portilla. And he takes it out of bounds in front of the Jersey bench, following what appeared to be an injury at the end of that play. And you hate to see that.
Yeah, and you see this throw right here as well, Joe. It was a bit underthrown. He did have his receiver, I believe that was Fisher, down the sideline he was trying to throw it to, but didn't have much oomph into that throw, and it leads to an easy interception for the Silverbacks. And with 1 timeout remaining, they'll have a chance now to take the lead before the half.
And could he have kept going were it not for the misstep? It looked like he could have gone a bit further. Yeah, you hate to see what could have been a huge return on the interception cut short by an injury. Either way.
You would hope that it's just cramping or something in that type of play.
Either way, he made a good play on that football. Had to go up and get it. That being said, it looked like Criscolo thought he had more of a window than he did, because earlier in the game, we saw him throw a very similar pass, as we'll get one more look at it here. On a very similar pass, the defensive back on the outside came down very hard.
I think the other
thing line of scrimmage.
If you saw also, his receiver initially set up and a stick route and then went up the field to go on that streak. And I think that was the other issue. There might have been a mistiming of that throw. I think he was expecting maybe originally for that flat to get the reception, and then at the last second, his receiver went up the field on the streak route, and that led to the easy INT for the Silverbacks.
And that completely shifts the complexion of this game now. The Sharks, in a tie game, had a chance to put some points on the board before halftime with good starting field position. Now, the Silverbacks have the football in plus territory, and Jersey will be receiving the second half kickoff. This drive, very important for New Jersey.
I was going to say, I mean, think about the implications. Jersey could have gone down the field, taken the lead, and then got the second half kickoff as well.
Absolutely. Trips to the left, Wise in the shotgun. And he will hand it off to Caesar on first down. A nice jump cut up the field. He's carried forward inside the 30, and he is finally taken down there at the 29-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like he got about 5 yards on that play. So you would think with the run that they still have a good amount of time to get down the field with the 1 timeout remaining as well.
Obviously, you'd love to score here, but you cannot afford the mistake that puts the ball back in the hands of Jersey. You can't force it here. Once again, trips line up to the left. Wise in the shotgun, flanked by Caesar in the backfield. 2nd down and 5 coming up. And once again, Wise will take off. Plenty of running room. 1 man to beat. He's up the sideline heading for the end zone, and that is a Silverbacks touchdown. Zamar Wise takes it the distance, 29 yards, and New Jersey goes in front 12-6.
And Joe, originally you didn't know if maybe he was going to try and potentially run out of bounds at first, but with the amount of blocking he had on that right side, there was nobody there for the Sharks. He got that 1 block in the end zone, and he pretty much walks in, and gets tackled at the end for the touchdown. It gives the Silverbacks a late lead here in the first half.
And that is where the pressure can burn you as a defense. You look to aggressively rush the passer. Sometimes you don't maintain your rushing lanes, and the quarterback can step right up through the pocket and take off for a big gain on the ground. This big gain goes for 29 yards and a Silverbacks touchdown. They are lining up to go for 1 here. Ball at the 2-yard line. They failed on their previous 1-point conversion attempt, and will take another shot at it here. Once again, trips to the left. Wise in the shotgun. Lined up to his left this time is Caesar. The Sharks crowding the line of scrimmage here. It looks like 7 right up against the line of scrimmage. Wise throws a quick screen left. And tackled just short.
But a late flag threw in, Joe, as well.
Keshawn Glover tackled just short of the end zone with a flag in late. And it looks like the Silverbacks are pointing in the direction of Jersey, though we've seen the bias from time to time when it comes to flags. That doesn't necessarily mean much.
I think from the spot in the field, I think that was holding on the Silverbacks. I think because the flag was thrown right where the play ended. And I think that might have been a hold on the Silverbacks receiver. So I think because of that, and as well as it not being converted, it's going to be a declined penalty and will lead to the next kickoff with it still being a 6-point game.
Well done by the Jersey defense to stand strong on the conversion attempt once again. But obviously, if you're the Sharks, it's a bit of a catastrophic end to this first half. The good news is you still have some time. So you can erase the memory of that second score very quickly. That being said, you looked poised to possess the football last and potentially take a lead into the second half while receiving the kickoff to open the third quarter. Now they're playing from behind, and their defense has allowed scores on back-to-back drives.
Now, Joe, I'm just taking a look out to the field. We might have had the end of the first half.
That would be a bit surprising, though, if the play clock is 40 seconds.
If you see the players from the Silverbacks, they are walking towards the right of us down the field. I think the end of the first half has happened.
That might be the case, Nick. The players are headed toward the corners of the facility, and wow, if that is the end of the first half, to allow a touchdown on the very last play of the second quarter is brutal. And I can't believe that is the end of the first half, Nick.
Yeah.
There could not have been as much time left as we thought.
Yeah, that's brutal for the Sharks now, Joe, because obviously we thought maybe they had a little bit more time on the clock and with those 2 timeouts go down the field and maybe get some kind of points. But instead, they now head into the half with a 6-point deficit. They do get the second half kickoff, but their offense has not been – has made some careless mistakes, unfortunately, a couple of turnovers in that first half that has unfortunately cost them some points.
A tough end to the half for the Jersey Sharks. And here at home, the New Jersey Silverbacks have the lead 12-6 over Jersey as we bring the first half to a close. A brief message from our sponsors will be followed by a couple of minutes of silence up here in the broadcast booth. When Nick and I return to headset, we will recap the first half and look ahead to half number 2. This is coverage of Jersey Sharks football exclusively on the PDF Sports Network. The Silverbacks in front, 12-6 at halftime.
Edison Heating and Cooling, New Jersey's comfort provider since 1987. With over 100 factory-trained service and installation personnel and a fleet of over 100 vehicles, we are able to service our customers faster and more effectively than our competitors. Our team of customer care professionals are always on call for an in-home consultation. If you and your family are in need of an installation or service completed by expert technicians, done professionally and efficiently, you need Edison Heating and Cooling. It's what we do.
Representing a seriously injured person requires a lot of research and preparation, but it also means giving hope to the client.
Lombardi Law is always there for you whenever you need them. You can count on them at all times. Lombardi Law gave me hope when I had none.
When you hire the law firm of Lombardi & Lombardi, you're not just hiring one attorney. You're hiring the education, the knowledge, and the experience of all 10 attorneys in this law firm.
Lombardi & Lombardi, representing seriously injured clients since 1973.
Bean and Blend Cafe offers an array of decadent desserts, Italian specialty items, and a wide variety of breakfast and lunch offerings. From smoothies to seasonal lattes, acai bowls to fresh bagels, our family's promise is to serve the local community with wholesome food and a lot of love. Lose yourself in the tranquil setting while chatting the day away with friends and locals. Visit us at 1529 Route 206 in Tabernacle, New Jersey, or online at beanandblendcafe.com.
And we are back here on the PDF Sports Network after a relatively quick halftime break. Our score entering the third quarter, the New Jersey Silverbacks 12 and the Jersey Sharks 6. And Nick, we spoke about it during the pregame. We expected this to be a game ruled by the defenses, and in many ways it was. Despite the 18 points scored, it was the Silverbacks defense forcing a key turnover early. We then saw another turnover forced by the Silverbacks late at the end of the first half. The Sharks defense did not allow two long scoring drives. Instead, the Silverbacks did inherit very good field position on that last drive and made the most of it, then put together one good scoring drive that was propelled forward by the pass interference.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. I mentioned as well a couple minutes ago the pregame where penalty yardage has been an issue for the Sharks this season, certainly. And, you know, we saw that penalty pass interference that led to the first down happening inside the goal line that led to 2 plays later being a touchdown. And then we saw the interception as well happen that gave the Silverbacks short field yardage and gave them another touchdown. And that last touchdown ended our first half as well with the Silverbacks on top. But the good news for the Sharks show is they do get the second half kickoff, so they can make up for amends for what happened at the end of the first half and tie the score on this opening drive.
Well, I said, Nick, they could put the end of that first half at a distance if they can go down the field and score here. And we saw their offense at times in that first half look very effective, especially on the ground, as that's a short kick. And it's brought in by one of the up men. Looking to reverse
Hemingway.
field is Hemingway. He's still going and is finally wrapped up and tackled at the 35-yard line.
He got brought down hard after that hit as well. Hemingway will get it to, I think you, as you mentioned, the 35-yard line. So obviously, Joe, a rough end of the first half for the Sharks team, but confidence-wise, I mean, what does that do your mental, your stability going into the second half, trying to get back on offense and trying to get back into this column and try to tie the game?
I think when all is said and done after the first half, it is still a one-score game. And I think minus the late interception, which may stick in the head of your quarterback, you never really know, but I think minus that one play, you have to like what your offense did for much of the first half. They put themselves in scoring position more than once. The fumble really hurt them, and obviously that late interception was a killer. But at times, they were in command of this game, moving the ball with some tempo, no huddle up the field, and unfortunately, a couple of drives came to a disastrous end, one being the pick, the other being the fumble. Those mistakes certainly have to be cleaned up. First down handoff. Jones Jr. with another hard run. And obviously, Nick, there were going to be backs that average 4 yards a carry. They hit the home run, and then a lot of their other runs don't go for much. Jones is not one of those backs. Every one of his runs are good, hard runs between the tackles. He lowers the shoulder and makes something out of very little.
Yeah, and he got about 3 yards on that first down play. We'll see as they go quick here on second down.
No huddle. Fake handoff. Screen pass once again is dropped. Hemingway, the intended receiver.
That's some of the things that you mentioned they have to clean up here in this second half. Now, for me, I have to clean up my vocabulary as well. If you didn't hear what I said, I meant to say stability, and I mixed up 2 words. I said stability. I mixed up. I don't know what I was going for, but I went for stability. That was the initial word I was trying to say.
Well, Nick, that word won't be in the broadcast tomorrow. You only catch those mistakes if you watch live. We clean it up very nicely the next day. Without the benefit of a statistician in the booth and a spotter and all the different amenities offered to the NFL pros, we clean it up to sound like we have that as that throw falls incomplete. Chris Cuolo under a lot of pressure there, and he was very fortunate to get that throw away, nearly completed it.
Yeah, and if not for the pressure, Joe, he probably has another touchdown pass in this game, and it just fell right in between his receiver and the defender that was in that vicinity, and now brings up fourth down.
That's a tough break for the Sharks. The pressure for the Silverbacks getting in there. It looked like a four-man rush on the replay, but there was a big hole in that defense deep in the secondary. But credit to the pass rush up front. I didn't see who it was that applied the pressure. You may have caught it on replay, Nick. And this is where a spotter makes a world of difference, because if you have somebody with his eyes in the offensive backfield able to tell us who it is on every play that makes the tackle, that forces the pressure, you can give credit to these defensive players up front that put in hard work on every snap and very often don't get the name recognition that they deserve.
Yeah, I'm trying to see it myself. I think it's a single-digit number inside that interior defensive line.
Well, there's only one of those. That would be number 5. That's Corey Walker, a linebacker, though. Here on special teams, there's a chance that they changed personnel.
Trying to say they also, I think that would be him, but it really was tough to tell off of that replay.
He's lined up over the guard once again on this punt, and it's another beauty. Headed right for the sideline. It takes a good bounce into the arms of the return man. And a stiff arm by Ronald Butler may have bought him a couple of extra yards as he's tossed out of bounds into the Silverbacks bench.
Took a hard hit going out of bounds as well, almost near helmet to helmet on that tackle right there. I think the tackle was made by Span the fourth.
Well, he said, get that stiff arm out of here, and dealt out a big hit.
So after a quick 3 and out now, Joe, for the Sharks, now their defense, they really need them to step up in this spot in this game. Touchdown here for the Silverbacks would obviously give them the 2-possession lead, but with the way the Sharks' offense has been these last couple of drives, a two-possession lead could be really tough for them to get back into this one.
Pistol set for the Silverbacks here. 1st and 10. Ball at their own 35-yard line. Chance to go in front. 2 scores here, but a long way to go to make that happen. Handoff. Goes for a short gain. As fighting forward was Daquan Brown, who I believe just got his first carry of the night.
Brown broke off a couple tackles as well on his way to getting that 2-yard run.
That will bring up 2nd down and 8. The Silverbacks into a shotgun look once again. 4 receivers spread wide. Wise will move Brown to his right. Sharks once again crowd the line of scrimmage, but they do drop back into coverage. Throw deep, left sideline complete. That was Nadir Smith. And the Sharks surround him at the 45. Big gain on the play, and a Silverbacks first down.
And we've seen a couple times in this game, Joe, Smith being wide open. We saw earlier Smith was open on a play and backed up where the Silverbacks were backed into their own territory. The ball wasn't thrown towards him. Since then, he's been getting a lot more involved in the receiving game. And right there was no one around him as he made that catch. And then it made a nice move to the inside to get a couple extra yardage.
Ball at the Sharks' 45-yard line. And the Silverbacks offense has really picked it up since late in that second quarter. They put together a nice drive, helped along by the pass interference, but still a good drive nonetheless. And then managed to score on the very last play of the first half. I still can't believe there was no time left after that touchdown. Trips to the right, stacked a bit awkwardly were the receivers, and they do hand off up the middle. No gain on the play. Second and 10 coming up here. Ball remains spotted at the Sharks' 45. Once again, Wise in the shotgun. To his left now, Mekhi Caesar in the offensive backfield. And he will look to throw, does Wise, and he completes into a tight window. I think it may have been dropped at the last second. Will they give him the catch? They will. Bringing that in was Jakir Robinson. And Nick, I'm not sure if you saw it, but it looked like as he went down to the turf, that ball may have been trapped against the green.
We're going to go, I think we're going to get a decent look at this one as well. I'll try to slow it down just a bit to see maybe if we can get at the end of the play that was dropped. So you see here, there is the catch. But as you notice at the end of the replay, he kind of looks like he tries to keep the ball with him. So I think there's definitely a case that he did not maintain possession as that ball went down.
Third down. Swing pass to the back. Caesar has it up the sideline, and he ducks out of bounds just shy of the 25.
Nice little dump-off pass on that screen from Wise to Caesar, and they have really made a big impact in this game, Joe, and that huge third down conversion now puts them just, it looks to be, near the red zone around the 28-yard line.
First and 10. Ball spotted at the 28 of Jersey. And the question always comes up now in these one-score games. Does the team with the football have the ability to kick a field goal if they wanted to?
We have seen them elect to go for the one-point conversion twice. Now, they didn't have to kick a field goal after they get those touchdowns, so that is a good question to pose.
Handoff up the middle, Caesar. And at one point near the end of that run, he had one arm on the football in heavy traffic as he was wrestled down following a gain of 5.
Dangerous spot now for the Sharks in this game where you're already down 6. You're now backed up near your own end zone as your opponent is now approaching the red zone. So they really could use a turnover, especially in this spot, whether it be a turnover on downs or just forces something out.
It will be 2nd and 5 when the Silverbacks resume this possession. As they break huddle and look to go in front by 2 possessions. The Sharks defense now in unfamiliar territory. They have not allowed 2 scores in a single game this season. Trips to the left. Wise looking, throwing, end zone, and caught just shy of the goal line following a huge hit. What a grab on the play by Smith. I don't know how he held on to that one.
I'm not sure either, Joe. I thought that was a prime territory for the Sharks to get an interception, and Smith somehow held on to that football. Now, is there also a late flag that I see in the end zone? Could that maybe have been targeting?
Perhaps it may have been. The officials may talk this one over. Right now, the Sharks are huddled on the field just outside of the hash marks at the 10-yard line.
They
the
might get
Silverbacks
him.
Headed to their bench.
They might get him for targeting right there, Joe. You saw. I don't know if you saw at the end of that play, but he pretty much went up towards the helmet area, and we'll get a second look right here.
That was a vicious hit at the end of that play.
You see right there, he went pretty much towards the helmet area, so I don't know if they're going to call that, even if it is a personal foul penalty where they are in the spot in the field. It pretty much is just half the distance to the goal line. So if the tackle was made at around the 4, they most likely will mark this ball at the 2-yard line.
That was a great grab on that play by Smith, but not to be overlooked was the throw on that play as well from Wise. There was a pretty big window. That being said, the arc he put on that ball to drop it into that space.
Yeah.
Very impressive, and I think part of the reason why the receiver took such a big hit is because that ball was in the air for such a long time.
And I think the officials discussed it, Joe. I think they ruled that it wasn't deemed to be a targeting on the play, so no penalty. The flag was picked up, And it's now 1st and goal at the 4-yard line for the Silverbacks.
Silverbacks with a huge opportunity here to go in front 2 scores. And they have taken a nice chunk of time off the clock on this drive as well. It's been another very nice drive for New Jersey. And their offense since late in the second quarter has really picked it up. Trips to the left once again. Wise in the shotgun. He takes off right. Doesn't have much blocking. Look to fake a potential throw. He is still trying to fight for extra yardage, and there's nowhere to go. That was a good job to stay home on that play by the Jersey defense. It looked like Wise tried to make it appear as if he was going to throw it when he put 2 hands on the football, but there wasn't anywhere to go with it.
Yeah.
That being said, Nick, he can throw that away. Instead, he took a big loss.
Yeah, he took a loss of 3 on that play, so it makes it 2nd and goal at the 7-yard line, but absolutely could have thrown the ball away on that spot. And now it's still a manageable 2nd and goal opportunity here for the Silverbacks, but you certainly would rather have the option to have it at the 4-yard line compared to the 7.
It will be 2nd and goal. Ball now at the 7. If the Sharks can keep New Jersey out of the end zone here, that would be huge. The Silverbacks take a shot, and that's caught for a touchdown. A beautiful back shoulder throw on the play by Zamar Wise, and he finds his man in the front corner of the end zone. I believe that was Dews on the reception. We will double check it.
It's going to be tough to see from the angle we have, Joe, but
I think it was, Nick. He wears number 5. I believe that was him. Here's a second look. And again, that's an impressive throw over 2 defenders in a tight window near the pylon in the front of the end zone. You can't just put any quarterback in there and have him make that throw. That takes a lot of practice reps, a good rapport with your receiver, and a lot of trust that he's going to be in the right spot at the right time. Well executed by the Silverbacks.
Yeah, pretty much a fade route to the outside of that corner end zone, and a great ball, as you mentioned, from Wise, and an even better catch on that play to make it now a 18-6 lead for the Silverbacks, as I got to go for the 1-point conversion.
One-point try coming up for the 3rd time tonight. Silverbacks 0 for 2 on their conversion attempts today. Empty backfield once again. And Wise quickly flushed to his right, trying to get away, heaves it out of play, well beyond the end zone. So the Silverbacks 0 for 3 on their conversion attempts. Outside of that, the last 3 drives have been 3 very good ones. They've done exactly what they needed to do and put the ball in the end zone as they go in front 18-6. And now the pressure is firmly upon the Jersey offense.
And you might get the sense now, Joe, that this next upcoming drive is a must-score drive. It's still in the 3rd quarter, but the Sharks defense has really struggled these last couple of possessions. And that last drive was a tough one, especially in the passing game. Their pass defense got pretty much torched up by that Silverbacks offense. And now, with a 12-point deficit, they really could use a score here with, you have to think, maybe halfway done through the 3rd quarter. That was a very long drive for New Jersey right there.
A long drive that ends in 6 is a great drive,
yep.
Always. And especially so when you put yourself ahead 2 scores. I think the outcome certainly factors into how good you feel about it as well. And the 2-possession lead, huge at this point in the game. That being said, early in this game, Jersey looked like they were moving the football pretty well. You have to like what you've seen from their ground game tonight. And they have hit a couple of big plays in the air. That being said, the fumbled snap and the pick late in the first half, 2 key plays in this game, both made in large part by the Silverbacks defense.
Yeah, that's right now definitely the difference of this game. That fumble was in the goal line, which would have given the Sharks a potential touchdown. And then obviously the interception was after, they had the ball in good territory, and that was coming off the touchdown they had just given up on the defensive side. But the Silverbacks defense deserves a lot of credit for how they played these last couple of possessions defensively, and that was something that we highlighted in our pregame, where this is going to be a good defensive matchup, and one of these two defenses are going to have to make some big plays in the turnover margin, and the Silverbacks have done that in this game.
Kickoff on its way, and it's brought in shy of the 25-yard line. Good running start here and a potential big return, but it is cut down at the 40. Still a nice run back on that play by Justin Sanders, as we have an injured player down on the field.
It's one of the Silverbacks.
Yeah. There was a big collision at the end of that return, and immediately players on both sides were waving medical personnel out onto the field. And we spoke about it earlier, Nick, with the changes to the rules on kickoffs in the NFL, and big collisions like that are a big part of the reason why, and we've spoken about it before. Selfishly, we like to see the big kick returns. We like to see the run backs and get the chance to call those big plays. Obviously, I think with the new kickoff rules, there are fewer of those opportunities in the NFL. That being said, when it comes to player safety, it certainly appears as if the new dynamic kickoff is the right way to go.
Yeah, and that's really one of the points of emphasis that the new NFL kickoff is trying to do, that it prevent these type of collisions happening on kickoffs. And unfortunately right there, a big collision happens just near midfield. And that's why, sometimes not only the kickoff rule is being implemented, but that's why they're also wearing the Guardian caps as well. There's a lot of, measures that the NFL has been going to these last couple of years to try to prevent this stuff from happening. But unfortunately in this sequence, we have one of those things happening, and hopefully the player is able to get back up and is going to be okay after this injury.
Yeah, we didn't see who it was who was down immediately after that play ended. The fallen Silverback was flat on the turf.
I think he is up now.
Yeah, he is, and that is number 19 of the Silverbacks, Altamir Jones. So Jones, fortunately, and it's good to see that he's able to walk back to the sideline. I think the best case a lot of the time in a situation like that is that somebody had the wind knocked out of them.
Yeah.
And just needed some time to regain composure before being able to walk off. And he looks okay on the sideline. He's not being attended to any further by the medical personnel. That may change in a bit. But with a nice return, the Sharks do have good starting field position here. Ball at the 40, and they need points. We believe we're closing in on the end of the third quarter. Chris Carollo throws right, complete. And lowering the shoulder was Hemingway as he barrels close to the first down with a gain of about 8 yards.
And we saw earlier where Jones Jr., the running back, got hit pretty hard, and it kind of motivated him the rest of the way, and he's had some nice runs in this game. Hemingway definitely took a shot on that last play, so for the Sharks offense, they're hoping that maybe some kind of spark gets them back into the end zone here in the third quarter.
Handoff up the middle. Nice gain again, and a first down plus some on the run for Stephen Jones Jr. And just like that, Nick, the Sharks are in plus territory.
And they've really been running the football at a good rate tonight. Jones Jr. on that one just lowered, his shoulder, lowered the helmet, and just pretty much trucked his defender in his way to get that first down.
Handoff once again goes to Jones
Ball's
Jr.,
out.
and he coughed up the football. And it's taken on a fly by the Silverbacks. Potential for a big run back here. Jason Harrison Jr. finally brought down across midfield, and once again, Jersey is struck with a critical turnover.
Joe might give me a commentary strength on that one. I was just praising Jones Jr.'s running ability these last couple of plays, but right there gets the ball coughed out, and a great run back from Harrison Jr., getting it on the plus side of territory into Sharks territory with that recovery. And once again, as you mentioned, a turnover really is a backbreaker for this Jersey team. And Joe, that is the end of the third quarter. That was the last play.
That will do it for quarter number 3.
And second look at that fumble before we head to break.
We may not head to break, Nick, as the last gap between quarters was a very short one.
Yep. And that's crazy to think as well, Joe, that the Silverbacks had that long of a drive to start this third quarter. And the Sharks only ran 3 plays before the quarter ended.
So we await the first snap of this fourth quarter. And New Jersey is now firmly in control. They could potentially put this one away with a score here. I think if it becomes a 3-possession game, this one's probably over, especially given the way that the Silverbacks defense has played. And I think if you're the Sharks, the plays that have really hurt you in this game have been turnovers and then the big penalty that set up the goal-to-go situation on pass interference. Obviously, those plays are killers. And for the Silverbacks to go ahead late in that first half and then come out and score again, they did exactly what they needed to do. They inherited the great field position late in the second quarter. They turned that into points, and then they come out in the second half and score again with a very nice drive, easily their best of the game.
And now the way they had that third quarter drive, milking all that clock, they'll look to do the exact same thing here in the fourth quarter. And as you mentioned, potentially put this game on ice with the 3-possession lead if they were able to get into the end zone.
Wise takes the snap, looked left as they set up a screen. He now rolls right, signaling his man downfield, and I think he wisely did not take a chance there.
No pun intended.
In one-on-one coverage, and that's a good call, Nick.
But
I think he was definitely prudent.
Yeah, that was the absolute right play from him to go out of bounds on that play. I think he got about, looks to be 5 yards, but in this spot as well, especially this late in the season, you don't want to have a key injury to your quarterback with the playoffs on the horizon. Your team try to hold on here tonight, try to go to 5-1, push your opponent to 5-1, and then hopefully you're hoping for a Sharks win at the end of the season against the Pharaohs as well.
Well, I mentioned it during the pregame, Nick. Obviously, the Sharks would have loved to pick up the win in this game. I think that would have effectively ended the Silverbacks' shot at taking the top spot in the regular season standings. Of course, anything can happen, but without being able to secure a tiebreaker against Jersey or Brooklyn, I think it would have been very unlikely that the Silverbacks could finish in first. Now, with this win, if they close it out, a Pharaohs loss to the Sharks could send us into a potential 3-way tie scenario.
Yeah.
That's still a few weeks away. Wise throws right, low, and complete. Not touched on the play was Smith. He got up and continued running before finally being tackled just outside of the 30-yard line.
I thought originally maybe that ball had hit the turf, but it looks like Smith had got his hands under the ball and got the reception on that play for that first down to extend this drive.
And that's a big completion. The longer the Silverbacks can keep the football, even if they don't score, the more difficult things become on the Sharks in this game. And they're already very difficult as it stands. First and 10.
That was a good catch.
Yeah, I thought he caught it,
for
sure.
I thought originally maybe after he caught it, maybe the ball had fallen out as he went to the turf, but he held on.
Wise takes the snap, immediately flushed out to his right. He makes a high-risk throw, and it pays off. Incomplete is the ruling, and the Silverbacks can't believe it. Now, in live action, I thought Singleton may have had that one. We'll see if the replay provides any clarity.
Well, I almost said high risk, high reward on that play, but I don't know if I'll have to see if the replay does give any more clarity than it possibly did on that previous play. I don't know.
Really tough to tell. Slow it down one more time. I don't think we have a great view of the football. We have a great view of the play, but not a great view of the ball. We still have some time here. Got to wind it back some
have to
more.
wind it back just a little bit. You might have to pause it as well at the exact moment when the ball was caught.
What do you think?
It might have hit the turf, and it might have bounced into it. I think that's what they called.
I think that's the best look we had at it, and I'm inclined to say on that look that they got it right.
Yeah, I think the ball hit the turf, and it held on. So, give credit to the officials on that play. That's a tough one to call on the field.
That's 2 razor-thin calls they got right. As this throw goes wide left, plenty of space out there, and the pass is complete. I believe just shy of the line to gain. It's going to be 3rd and 1. Trying to get a look at who it was that made that reception. A jersey tucked into the pads, obstructed by some long hair. But I think that was Ronald Butler. His hair still draped over his number, but I think that was Butler.
It's now a more manageable 3rd and short now, so you could definitely go back to the run on this next upcoming play to try to get the first down.
I'm sure both of these teams are hoping it's not the last time we see them this year. Obviously, we cover the Sharks again. Each side with hopes of hosting a playoff game. And the Silverbacks put themselves right back into that conversation if they can hold on to win this one tonight. 3rd and 1. Wise in the shotgun, 4 receivers wide. Big play here. Jersey needs to get the football back here in the 4th quarter. It's a handoff up the middle. Nothing. And a loss of maybe 2.
Joe, and you see on the sideline, late flag, there was pushing and shoving. It's going to be a crucial call on the field on who the penalties against.
If this went against Jersey, that is an unacceptable penalty. You can't take that.
It might be offsetting penalties. It could be.
That's a bit more understandable, but on the other side, if you're the Silverbacks, you can't give away 15 yards there. So I don't think it matters which team picked up the foul. If the penalties are not offsetting, that is a critical error. Also, Nick, keep in mind, if it occurred during the play, they would replay the down, which helps the Silverbacks.
It was after the whistle was blown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if it's 4th and 3, I would guess they probably go for it.
They would definitely go for it.
Yeah, figured.
Now, it looks
Sticks
like
read 3rd down, Nick.
Okay. He was ejected. There was an ejection, Joe.
We had an ejected Silverback. Question is who it was.
That was number 4, Cameron Sebb. He's out for the game.
He must have thrown a punch. And I think this discussion is one that may be ongoing for a little while.
I don't know if we'll have a look at the replay, if we can even see it happening in live time. It's going to be on the far, far sideline from our camera. You see them getting into entanglement on that sideline, and then the flag was thrown. So there must have been a punch thrown, as you mentioned, and that whole thing.
Really tough to see, but I think late in that play, there had to have been a punch thrown. So this will be sorted out in front of the Sharks bench, and it looks like we finally have an agreement over what the call should be. The Silverbacks are still huddled, and the Sticks still read 3rd down, so keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. The head official right now is towards the Sharks sideline as well, so they're still clarifying it at the moment.
Yeah, when you have an ejection.
Now, is Sam still on the field? He's still on the field.
He is still on the field, no question. He's still on the field right now. This obviously is an important call, not only because we had an ejection, but because now they're moving the Sticks back 15.
All the way back.
At this point, Nick, do you punt it?
Well, if it stays third down, I mean, you still have the extra down, but I don't know.
Nick, they backed them up. I thought more than 15 yards. I guess not with the loss. They backed them up 15. I was going to say they moved a long way with that down marker, but.
Yeah, the ball's now at the 40-yard line. So I think it's 3rd and 17, I think, is right now.
It's 4th and 17.
4th and 17.
The penalties were not offsetting. It was 15 yards.
Yeah, I think they just gave Sabb the only penalty on the play for throwing a punch, but
he is still out there.
He's still out there after they initially said that he was ejected.
And they are going for it here on 4th down.
Yeah.
If you're the Sharks with a chance to pick this off deep,
I would
you
not.
probably bat it down.
If I'm Wise, if there's nothing open, you just take the run and just take the turnover on downs.
Pressure coming, and Wise is sacked. The one thing the Silverbacks would look to avoid there, and instead, Wise could not escape. In on the pressure was 0, Julius Toby.
And I mentioned earlier, he is the team leader in sacks, Joe, and he got a quick jump off the edge, and Wise had just nowhere to run. He was trying to get something, but had just no chance.
Well, Nick, Toby didn't get the sack. Toby exited the field after the sack was made. So who was it that finished that play off in the middle?
The hair is also preventing that as well for who made the play. I'll have to get a look while this next coming play happens.
Well, the Sharks bolted off the field after what is a huge defensive play. They are still very much alive with that stop on 4th down. And Nick, unless you don't have a punter, I can't imagine why they went for that. I think only bad things can happen there.
Yeah.
It was 4th and a mile, about 17 or 18.
Yeah, it's tough to tell, Joe, who got the play on the edge right there for the Sharks with the hair blocking the jersey number.
Big drive here for Jersey now. Chris Cuolo flushed to his right, looking downfield, and throws incomplete. Took a hit at the end of the play as well.
Yeah, if you're the Silverbacks, definitely don't want to have a roughing the passer in that spot as well. Give the Sharks more penalty yardage.
Nick, I just have to believe that they should have punted there. I think with the way this game is going, the way your defense is playing, I don't know why they didn't punt it.
Yeah, you give the Sharks prime territory now on this spot of the field. You're at midfield now on 2nd down, or at least a couple yards ahead of midfield.
We're outside the 2-minute warning. Jersey has 3 timeouts. I'd guess there's about 5 minutes left in the game.
Well, the way they're, especially if they're running the ball, you have to think that's the case.
It was a low snap ahead of that carry by Jones Jr. It went for a gain of about 3, maybe a bit less. And that will bring up 3rd and long, Nick. You have to believe it's 4-down territory the rest of the way.
It has to be in the spot of the game where you're down 12 points. It's a 2-possession game when who knows how much time is really left. So it has to be 4-down territory for the Sharks in the spot.
Chris Cuolo looking right. Throws to Hemingway complete. Nice move by the big wideout. He's in the 2nd level. He has green grass in front of him. And that is a Sharks touchdown. Jersey is right back in it as Devon Hemingway makes moves in the open field, breaks it away, and takes it in for 6.
And now how big is that sack on 4th down even now, Joe? After that play, what a move to the outside from Hemingway. Cuts it back inside, and as you mentioned, had all but grass in front of him. Not a Silverback defender in sight as he gets the touchdown, and it's now a 6-point game. Now the question is, Joe, what do the Sharks now do in this upcoming play? Do they go for the 1 or they go for the 2? Looks like they're going to be lined up for...
They've had 2 kicks blocked. I don't think you try a 3rd here.
Oh, Joe, also, there was a flag throw on the field, too.
It was after the play.
Yeah.
Now, if a flag moves you half the distance to the goal from the 2, you have to try and go for the 1.
I think they're kicking. They're going for the PAT. They're going for the 2.
They don't need it, so they must feel more confident in their ability to kick. As I said before, Nick, you really need to do whatever you're more confident in. And in this situation, down 6 for the Sharks, it is the PAT. They are spotted at the 15, so if there was a flag, it did not result in a yardage penalty. Perhaps we were mistaken.
Well, there's a flag there for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that one.
I thought I saw the official pick up the flag at midfield. That's why I saw him going down to grab something. I thought it was a flag, but maybe I was mistaken. But that certainly is there a flag. And it's going to further this PAT attempt even further now for the Sharks. So where are they at now? The 20-yard line?
And I think with this score,
this is a 37-yard PAT.
There's going to be quite a bit of pressure on the Silverbacks offense now when they get this football back. 2-point PAT on its way. The snap is good, the hold is good, and the kick is blocked for a third time tonight as the Silverbacks slide. And I'm not sure why you don't try and return it. Maybe you think only bad things can happen, but if you make this an 8-point game, that is huge in this spot. Why not give it a shot?
Well, if you look at the kick as well, Joe, it's kind of a low-end kick on that one for the Sharks. And once again, as you mentioned, it's another PAT blocked. So it keeps it a 6-point game. The good thing for the Sharks is if they can get a stop here, go back down the field and score, they will at least tie the game. And then all they would need to do is just score a one-pointer, and they could take the lead.
I'm a bit surprised they kicked it, Nick. Obviously, the first block came via offside, so you can toss that one aside. That being said, you then got blocked on the very next attempt, and were then blocked again right there. Do you try it a fourth time? I don't think you can.
If it's a tie game at 18, there's no way you can go for 2. You have to go for the 1-point conversion.
Also, the Silverbacks' defense tonight had been very, very good. That's a tackle in the open field they needed to make.
Yeah.
They had Hemingway, and the big man making defenders miss, took it all the way to the end zone. It's a bit of irony that I said green grass in front of him as he ran towards second base. Second base in the end zone.
I told you, it's kind of unconventional when you see a baseball field on a football, or baseball diamond on the football field, I should say.
2 of them.
Yeah. Right. I forgot about the other one on the other side.
We have one in the other corner.
Yeah.
I was checking for a third.
I mean, keep in mind, this is a newly reconstructed field here in Rahway, so it's a very nice field complex here. And they're being treated to a very nice showdown between these two teams here tonight.
This is a very, very nice complex that I had no idea was tucked behind the buildings along a very familiar route to me. I'm in this area quite a bit. As the kick is sent away, waiting for it. Downfield was Smith.
Oh, look at that, Joe.
And they throw a pass on the kick return. The lateral did not afford them much, but
there isn't any Music City Miracle that time.
Is that really worth it, Nick?
Now, keep in mind,
we had a flag.
Yeah, there are 2 Sharks by the Silverbacks sideline. So there was definitely words exchanged once again, and now we'll have to see what the ensuing penalty is going to be.
I'm a bit surprised they tried that, Nick. And
I am too.
These penalty flags are going to be very important. If the Silverbacks end up getting backed up here.
Joe, you'll actually see what happened. This might be on the Sharks. So you'll first see at the beginning the lateral that we were unexpected. But if you see here at the tail end, there's a couple pushing from the Shark players.
All right, so what I see on that replay, one of the Sharks was pushed into the Silverbacks bench. He then retaliated.
Right.
Very often when you retaliate, you're the one who gets flagged.
Right.
As unfortunate as it may be, as unfair as it might seem, very often that's the case. This is an important call. The officials are still discussing it. I don't see any call yet.
It's coming up now.
It looks like it's going to be offsetting penalties.
Yep.
All right, first down from the 30. We have not yet reached the 2-minute warning. The Silverbacks possessed the football, leading by 12 earlier, and they went for it on 4th down. On a 4th and 17, took a sack, and that set up a Jersey scoring drive.
Just 3 plays later after that happened.
Fake handoff on first down. Wise keeps it. He has running room out across the 40 and steps out of bounds after a gain of 12.
Yeah, and this is the danger of having a scrambling type of quarterback, Joe. Wise just fakes the read option, handoff to Caesar, and gets the easy first down on that one. So at this point, you got to wonder if you're the Sharks defense, you're going to have someone be zooming in on the quarterback and making sure that he doesn't scramble once again. The good thing for the Sharks is at least he went out of bounds, so it does stop the clock for just a little bit.
A lot of time passing ahead of this first down snap. The clock was stopped following the gain of 12. Trips lined up to the left. Wise in the shotgun. And Wise will hand off up the middle. Nice hole. Closed quickly after a gain of 5 on the play. On the carry, that was Nahum. He had a touchdown run earlier in the game. One of 3 Silverbacks touchdowns tonight.
They're obviously at this point, Joe, trying to milk the clock and give the Sharks no realistic chance of getting back into this game. They still have those 3 timeouts remaining as well as the 2-minute warning. So Sharks are looking for a big stand here to try to give their offense one more opportunity to potentially tie this game and maybe even win it afterwards.
Once again, a shotgun formation for the Silverbacks. 4 receivers wide. Nahum in the backfield alongside Wise. And Wise will hand off once again. This time, the Sharks were ready, but the pile is pushed forward. And look at the offensive line of New Jersey.
He's still going.
Nahum never went down.
The play was blown dead at midfield, so it's going to be 3rd down, and I would think to be maybe 3 yards upcoming.
Jamal Hodge, Stephen Emil, Kelvin Tejada, all in there, pushing the pile forward, carrying their back toward the sticks. But it was ruled that forward progress was stopped shy of midfield. And this is a big play here. 3rd and short. Nick, I suspect this might be 4-down territory as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I would agree with it if they went for it here. I think you'd have to punt it.
I think if you were going to go for it, you got to set up in a play, and maybe I think you try to draw them offside in the spot because you can't really afford to have another turnover on downs and give the Sharks back the football.
I'd be inclined to say if they don't get this, I might punt it. If they don't get this and it's 4th and 2.
Expect the read option.
Wise and Nahum in the backfield. They got him to jump, Nick. It might be a free play, and the pass falls incomplete.
Well, I thought that would have happened maybe on 4th down if there was to be a misplay right there for the Silverbacks, but it does happen on 3rd down instead, and it's going to be a 1st down for New Jersey.
That is a huge penalty against the Sharks, and that is not the first time we've said that tonight.
Yeah. You see right there, there's the encroachment right there from the defense.
We still haven't reached the 2-minute warning. It looks like the Sharks defense was asking the official for how much time is left. We just had a whistle here. I'm not sure if that was for the 2-minute warning. Silverbacks remain in their huddle.
So, Joe, also, now going back to that play at 4th and 17, I think I now have the number. I think it was Michael Kuzar that was the one that got the sack on that 4th and 17. Took a little bit of time, but I finally have seen the number after that last penalty.
Good to get him the recognition he deserves for a huge play that has kept the Sharks alive in this game. The defense needs one more big play here. Handoff on the outside zone play. And Nahum stumbles out of bounds across the sideline. The clock, however, will continue to run. He was forced out on the hit. And that's a big call as well.
The Sharks are trying to preserve their timeouts, but with plays like that, you're going to have to keep the clock management. But as I mentioned as well, Joe, the 2-minute warning has to be approaching us as well in this game.
All right, I think they just signaled the Sharks bench, 2:30 remaining. The official with a hand signal. And I would think that if there's 2:30 remaining, they have to run one more play before the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
And you said it, Nick, ahead of that third down. Perhaps you may have been looking for it a bit ahead of that on fourth down. However, the principle remains the same. You cannot jump off sides on 3rd and 2.
Right.
And that play will definitely come back to haunt the Sharks if they don't get the football again. They need to find a way to give their offense one more chance. 2nd and 6. And Wise will look to throw. That was tipped, and it falls incomplete.
Joe, I'm not sure why they threw the ball.
The only way I could see them throwing the ball there is if they knew that with that play, they'd reach the 2-minute warning. Let's say you snap it at 2:05, and then you reach the 2-minute warning at the conclusion of the play. That is the only reason to pass there.
But now you give the Sharks pretty much an extra timeout. And now, instead, you have the 2-minute warning, they'll have to run one more play.
I may have been mistaken with the official's hand signal, but let's assume that there was 2:30 remaining. You cannot throw the ball there without the clock reaching 2 minutes. You have to make sure you get it down to 2 minutes if you're going to throw it. And not to mention, it was a pretty dangerous throw. It got tipped, and fortunately for the Silverbacks, it fell harmlessly to the turf. Third and 6. Jersey with another chance to set up a fourth down and an opportunity to get the football back. Wise looking left, had some time, flushed right, now looks to run with it, and Wise scrambles about a yard or two short of the first down.
Did he stretch the football, though, Joe, to get that first down marker is the question.
I don't think so. I think he's short.
I think they're ruling him 2 yards shy of the first.
I think they're ruling him 4 yards short based on the spot from the official along the sideline.
So he must have stepped out of bounds earlier than we expected.
If it's 4th and 4, inside the 40, I'm inclined to say go for it. I'm inclined to say go for it here.
Can we see maybe where he steps out of bounds in this spot?
My philosophy, Nick, is I think you can never assume that you're going to pin a team back near the end zone. If you have a great punter, maybe you can make that assumption. But from what I've seen in the arena, which doesn't often see punts, if ever. I don't think we've ever seen a punt in the arena.
I don't think so either.
Semi-pro, high school, you don't often see punts that pin the offense back unless it's a kick that's taken from all the way back at the 20. It then skips downfield. You get a good bounce, maybe a few good bounces, and you pin the offense back. In this situation, if you were to punt it from inside the 40, you may net 19 or 20 yards. That being said, I think you go for it here on 4th and 4. What do you think?
I think, we already saw them jump once on 3rd and 2. I think with 4 yards to go, you try to draw them offside. If you don't get the right play call, maybe you burn a timeout and then try to think about it a little bit more ahead of the upcoming 4th down conversion. I think the mindset should be try to draw them offside because they almost jumped on that last play as well before Wise stepped out of bounds. Now, originally I thought Wise stepped out of bounds at the 37-yard line. They ruled him down at the 39-yard line. So instead of it being 4th and 2, it's 4th and 4. So a crucial play, but I think they set up to try to draw them with the hard count. If they don't get them, they probably call a timeout and then think about it a little bit more upcoming for the 4th down conversion.
I thought we had a 4th and very short coming up when that play concluded. Right now, there's a lengthy discussion going on once again. I have no idea why.
I thought maybe originally that this was the 2-minute warning, but it doesn't seem to be the case that's why the discussion's is happening towards the center of the field.
I think for us as commentators, one of the toughest parts of our job is at times being a bit disconnected from what's going on down on the field.
Right.
We've called games, for example, in Little League where we are behind the outfield wall, and a lot of critical information doesn't come our way as the Sharks now
they are not happy, Josh.
are incensed. I don't know what happened.
Was there a late flag that we didn't see on the sideline, potentially?
Not that I noticed. And you know what, Nick?
Or was it because
maybe it's the clock?
Yeah.
It's the clock. I think that the clock.
I think they wanted the clock to stop because they tackled them out of bounds.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think the official ruled a running clock, and the Sharks were trying to find out whether or not the clock had been stopped and if they needed to use a timeout. And that's obviously some important information. If you're the Sharks and you don't need to use a timeout there, you're not going to.
Right.
So I think they're doing the right thing and making sure they have that information, but apparently they were not happy with the decision. Perhaps the clock was running and they weren't aware, and they called a timeout hoping to see the clock reverted back. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either because I didn't see a timeout signal by the officials as well.
Well, through all of this, Nick, I never saw a signal for the 2-minute warning, so
Right.
keep that in mind as well. However, the Silverbacks are going to keep the offense out there on 4th down, but to your point, Nick, I like what you said. Try and draw them off sides. If you can't do it, you call timeout and come out in a completely different look. And you have to think, too, the threat of a potential encroachment or offsides, it might slow down that pass rush just a step. 4th and 4 here. They look to throw for it. Why? Scrambling right, completes the pass. 1st down and more. On his way to the end zone is Isaiah Dews. Touchdown, Silverbacks.
Well, who needs to draw them offside, Joe, if you're going to have a play like that? Back-breaking not penalty, but a back-breaking touchdown right there given up by the Sharks defense. The Silverbacks now with a 2-possession lead on a absolute great scramble and throw and an even better catch and run right there to give them now a 24-12 lead.
Wise extended that play, only had one throwing option as he rolled out to his right. He found him, and Dews did the rest. Broken tackle off the reception. A nice move to get away from the defenders that were right next to him on that reception. And breakaway speed in the secondary affords him 6 more. That is his 2nd touchdown grab in this game. And the Silverbacks may have just put this one away.
I would tend to think that they're going to go for another 1-point conversion here, especially where the ball is placed right now. So trying to give themselves a 13-point lead. But the Sharks pretty much, Joe, looks like at this point are going to need a miracle. They're going to have a chance to potentially tie this game.
Well, again, Nick, I didn't ever see a signal for the 2-minute warning. That being said, it's very often that we miss those.
Timeout taken by the Silverbacks.
So New Jersey will talk this one over. Let's get one more look at that touchdown.
Yeah, you'll see Wise's ability on this last play, Joe. You mentioned the scramble he did to go to his right. We didn't think originally maybe they would get this play off. Maybe they would just go for the hard count. That was certainly not the case. Wise gets the scramble out, gets his open receiver, gets the touchdown pass, and now a 12-point lead for New Jersey after the Sharks got some momentum on that last possession, getting the turnover on downs, then getting the touchdown, kind of similar to what Hemingway did on his touchdown reception as well. And now a 12-point lead for New Jersey as they try to hold on to go to 5-1 this season.
Well, the Silverbacks right now reveling in their 2-possession lead. And they have to be careful here in terms of potential flags. But the music is blaring behind the New Jersey bench, and they're in the midst of a well-deserved celebration tonight. We said it earlier, Nick, when the Sharks scored that last touchdown on the pass to Hemingway, the Silverbacks have to find a way to make that tackle along the sideline on a very short completion. On that last play, with 3 timeouts remaining, the Sharks have to make that tackle.
Yeah, and you really don't want to give up the touchdown on the spot because we already mentioned, I mean, it's tough to get back for multiple possession lead, especially here in the fourth quarter. I mean, again, we don't know how much time is left, but if we did have the 2-minute warning, the Sharks would have to go down the field pretty quickly to even have a chance in this game. But we'll have to see exactly how much time is left after this upcoming conversion play for the Silverbacks. They go
Direct
Wildcat.
Snap, and perhaps thinking about a throw. Was the ball carrier on the play. Had a tough time making out the number. I think it was Butler again. And I don't think he got it. I think he was just short.
Got tackled just at the 1.
Inside the 1. So we are 0 for the night on 2-point extra points and 1-point conversion attempts. Got a good look at it on the replay if you want to throw that up on the screen, Nick. Our camera operator has a better view than we do from up top.
And you'll see the Wildcat. It looked like maybe he was originally trying to think the throw, as you mentioned, but
we've seen that more than once.
Just tackled just shy of the pylon and keeps it a 12-point game here in the fourth quarter.
Well, when you go back and look at this game, there are a lot of plays that will jump out, but I think one major constant throughout this game has been the play of Zamar Wise. He has thrown some very good-looking passes, and on 3rd and 4th down, when they have needed completions, he has been able to extend plays and find open receivers in some tight windows along the sideline.
And even if he isn't, throwing the ball on those 3rd down plays, we've seen his scrambling ability as well. He had that long rushing touchdown to give the Silverbacks the lead that ended that first half. And he's really shown out in this game. He's been the big difference maker in this game. But not to also mention the Sharks' miscues as well. Their turnovers have been a big issue for them in this game, as well as the penalty yardage. And that's why they're currently, unfortunately, down this many points.
Well, the Sharks made a series of critical mistakes in this game. And as you said, Nick, those were mostly of the turnover variety. On the return here, once again, it's Sanders. Sanders with running room across the 45. And down just shy of midfield. Well, once again, Nick, the Sharks get good starting field position. They still have 3 timeouts, and there has yet to be a signal for the 2-minute warning, which I don't see any way that's possible right now. We must have missed it.
It must have happened on that play that got where Wise got tackled out of bounds, because there was a very lengthy, discussion between the referees and the players. They were getting water and stuff. I feel like that was the 2-minute warning. We didn't really see it, and then there was a conversation afterwards in terms of me. Again, it's confusing only because there was we saw the Sharks getting aggravated because the clock was running. And I think that was what they were complaining about. So I'm not entirely sure if and when we did have that 2-minute warning, if that was the case.
Chris Cuolo looks to throw, middle. And a dangerous throw falls incomplete. Saru, the intended receiver. Well, the Sharks will have to air it out here. No time to put it on the ground. Maybe you try a screen pass to the back if you look to get your halfbacks involved, but it looks like they're going to go empty backfield again. Chris Cuolo in an empty backfield, shotgun set. He's looking left, throws that way, incomplete. Timing just a bit off on that throw as he was looking for Nas Clark.
So 2 quick incompletions now make it 3rd and 10 in the spot for the Sharks. Still have their 3 timeouts in their back pocket as well, but you mentioned it. They really could use a quick score here. And then depending on what happens, I mean, an onside kick maybe, they can recover that. That'd be great. If not, then they would need a quick stop from their defense with those 3 timeouts remaining to try to get the offense back on the field from potential tying score once again.
Trips to the right. Once again, a shotgun set for Jersey. 1 man in the backfield, flanking Chris Cuolo. Once again, he will look to throw. He swings it to his back in the flat left side. And making a pair of defenders miss was Saru. He's got the first down, still on his feet, and finally brought down inside the 40. And Nick, that may be the 2-minute warning.
That was the 2-minute warning.
Nope, it's a timeout, Sharks.
Oh, never mind. All right.
We are inside the 2-minute warning,
Yep.
Nick, and I think we're in the closing seconds of this game.
Yeah. So now the Sharks, they have to score quickly. They're going to need an onside kick as well to try to have any hope.
Yep. You have to think that there can't be any more than maybe 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, we might be under a minute.
Might be under a minute, yeah.
So I think at this point, for the Sharks, they might have to draw some plays to try to get, we saw the first 2 pass attempts going to the outside and try to get out of bounds quickly. That's probably what they're going to have to try to do and try to at least preserve your remaining 2 timeouts. But even then, it's still tough because if you don't recover the onside kick, that's pretty much the ball game right there.
Priority number 1, put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
You're in plus territory inside the 40. You still have the 2 timeouts. And if you do recover an onside kick, your next drive starts on the plus side of the 35, maybe even closer to the 40-yard line. You can't think about the onside kick, however. You have to make sure you score here. A pair of fumbles and a key interception before halftime. The Jersey turnovers tonight, and those are looming very large now. Chris Cuolo rolls left, sends one downfield and misfires with a man open. Once again, that was Saru over the middle.
Flag as well, Joe, in the backfield. I think that's going to be holding on the Sharks. And it is.
That's a backbreaker. Back him up 10. It will be 1st and 20 from just shy of midfield. Well, Nick, this first half earlier in the night went pretty quickly. This second half, on the other hand, has been a very, very long second half.
Well, there's been a lot of penalties. So we had some altercations as well, almost an ejection as well. And the offenses also have been putting up some points in the second half compared to that first half as well. So we've seen a little bit more of a different contrast of styles here in this second half compared to that first half, as you mentioned.
Very easily, we could have had a 6-6 game at halftime. The late pick changed the complexion of this game. And then a great drive by New Jersey to start the third quarter, put them in front by 2 possessions. They've been leading ever since. Once again, the Sharks will look to pass. Chris Cuolo heaves it downfield, incomplete. Heavy traffic down there along the sideline. That might have been Saru again, the intended target on the play. He's been a favorite target tonight for the Sharks quarterback. It's tough when you have someone's named Chris Cuolo. It sounds like I'm saying Chris Cuolo, full name, but Chris Cuolo is his last name. I got that pronunciation from our producer, Dave Pizzuto, at home. He's watching. We need to get him in the earpiece so we can hear him on site.
Dave could be like a Mike Pereira for the NFL referees, try to help us out.
He puts his polo on, sits in front of a backdrop.
Yeah.
We video him in. As that's complete down the field.
Gotta get out of bounds.
Yeah, you have to get out there. Fisher's thinking end zone. He might have a shot at it. And finally, he is brought down just outside the 10.
They gotta go quick, Joe. They need to get right on the ball.
Jersey is not calling timeout here.
They wasted too much time.
I think they consider a spike here. They had an extra man on the field as well.
No, they're going quick to apply. They're not spiking it.
Once again, they look to pass. Chris Cuolo shovels it forward. Hemingway is still on his feet, finally brought down.
Gotta call timeout, Joe.
It doesn't look like they're going to. Is there a chance we are not inside of 2 minutes, Nick?
I'm getting deja vu from one of our games we called last year with the EFA.
We did have a never-ending 2 minutes in our season finale.
Now there's time call on the field.
2-minute warning?
That might have been. It wasn't official's timeout.
And Nick?
I think that was.
I think we have reached the 2-minute warning. I cannot imagine how we hadn't reached it before. But
now it poses the question, why did the Sharks call that timeout earlier?
That's a good point. I think, Nick, if you believe that you can score before there are 2 minutes to go, you try to. That being said, I think there's an injured Silverback on the field. That's a break for Jersey because the clock was still running. Now, assuming we are in the last 2 minutes, you'd have to think that the Silverbacks get charged a timeout in that spot.
I would think so.
That would leave them with one, but there was no signal that a timeout was charged. Now, I don't know if you saw that, Nick. I think the referee just signaled 2-minute warning again. I saw him put twos up in the air.
I did.
Unless he was saying 22 seconds. Honestly, that seems more likely. It is just so tough to be in the dark about how much time is left in a game.
No pun intended, considering how dark it is outside as well.
Well, the facility is very well lit.
Yeah. I almost said Friday Night Lights, but then again, I remembered to say it was Saturday.
It is, which means more football tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I will be enjoying that from the comfort of my recliner.
Me too. Thankfully, I had to work on Thursday. The only beauty of working Thursday night games.
2 in a row?
No, next week they'll be home against Denver. But I got at least the first 2 weeks they were on the road. Last week, obviously this week they were on Thursday night. So tomorrow I am all home and I get to watch the Giants and hopefully not get miserable tomorrow.
I thought you said you were about to work on Thursday night of this week. I'm like, the Giants are employing you now?
No, God, I don't want to see that game anyway.
Low snap. Chris Carollo rolling right.
Not enough room.
And that was caught out of bounds. Not a bad effort on the throw and catch, but not enough room in the end zone either.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that game was happening on Thursday with the Giants as well. So, yeah, it's going to be it's not going to be a good one.
What are you doing on Thursday night, Nick?
Not watching that game.
Are we off to the Meadowlands?
No. I am going to go to a game at some point this season. I think I'm going to one of their games later on, but not.
We should go against Washington. We can get the crew.
Yeah, I don't think I could put myself through another. We went to a primetime game last year for the Giants, and it did not go well.
That was an all-time stinker.
That was a bad game. Dave was with us as well. He was there as also.
I had the worst take ever on that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried to warn you.
Everybody liked one team. I said, well, that must mean the other's going to win. Unfortunately for you, the other team was the Giants.
I tried to warn you on that one. Obviously did not go our way.
That was an all-time stinker for the boys in blue.
Got now 3rd and about 6 here for the Sharks. They need to get to looks to be the 2-yard line to get the first. Pretty much goal to go.
Rolling right and throws toward the pylon again, incomplete. A very similar look on 3rd down to what we saw on 2nd down. And Nick, this is the ball game right here. Any chance the Sharks have hinging on this 4th down?
Yeah, they obviously need to get the first. I mean, you would love to get the first down to at least get you closer, but as I mentioned, it's pretty much a goal-go opportunity or a chance for the Sharks here. It's 4th down at about 6. The first down marker's at the 2. They really obviously need to get the conversion or just at least get the touchdown to keep this game going.
This is 4th down. It is not goal to go. They can get a first, and they will throw. End zone incomplete. And the Silverbacks defense stands strong at the goal line as Jersey will turn it over on downs, and with it, the Silverbacks can likely run off the final seconds.
And, Joe, with that, the Silverbacks are now going to put their record at 5-1, same exact record as the Sharks, and now leapfrogs the Pharaohs into first place alone in the standings. But it gives the Silverbacks now an opportunity with the Sharks win at the end of the season, and depending on how the next 2 weeks go, the potential for the Silverbacks to be number 1 in the LAL standings at the end of the season.
I was curious to see if the offense would go back out there or if they would shake hands here.
Looks like maybe one kneel down, I would think.
I am very curious to know, A, how much time is left, and B, at what point did we reach the 2-minute warning? Also, is this the longest 4th quarter in PDF history?
We did have that Bears game last year that was pretty long. I would think that it's up there with the Bears game.
We were in the fourth quarter at 8:15. This has been an hour-long fourth quarter. The Silverbacks will send their offense out, likely for a kneel down. And that should take us to the end of this one, as New Jersey leads at 24-12. The story of this game, for the Sharks anyway, will be turnovers. There were some critical turnovers. The fumble on the run by Jones Jr., the interception late in the first half, and the fumble on the goal line that very well may have taken 6 points off the board if they instead went on to score.
I mean, yeah, think about the complexion of the game if that happens in that spot. If they get the touchdown on that fumble, then it's a one-possession game in this spot, and then who knows? I mean, that could have been the game-time possession right there for the Sharks to potentially tie it, but unfortunately things just didn't go their way. The turnovers and penalty yards, as we've mentioned, were a huge issue for them in this one. And there's the one kneel down. That's going to do it.
And the New Jersey Silverbacks defending their home turf as they draw even with the Jersey Sharks in the LAL standings. Our final score, the Silverbacks 24 and the Sharks 12. I said it, Nick, the story for Jersey in this game, obviously some very costly turnovers, but on the side of the Silverbacks, their defense had another very strong effort. One big play against them in that second half may have put a bit of a damper on how you felt about the way they played defensively, but that first drive in the third quarter, I think, really set the tone for the rest of the game. Their offense deserves a ton of credit tonight.
Yeah, I mean, think about the third quarter and that drive that they started off with. The first drive of the quarter took up pretty much the entirety of that quarter, because after that, the Sharks ran 3 plays, the third play being that fumble that was recovered by the Silverbacks and was returned by Harrison Jr., and that ended the quarter. So the Sharks only ran 3 plays in that third. That's why it went that quickly. So the Silverbacks offense definitely deserves a lot of credit, especially the quarterback-wise. Great plays with his legs, keeping the play extended with his scrambling ability, not only through the air, but obviously had that big rushing touchdown to end the first half to give the Silverbacks the lead. And we mentioned it. I mean, the Sharks, you got to get them, they didn't play an all-in-all bad game. The issue obviously being that one fumble in the end zone, the interception to almost end the first half, and then, as I mentioned in the pregame, penalty yards has been an issue for them this season, and that proved to be a factor in tonight's game. They've got to fix those mistakes in the final 2 games of this season if they want to have the best record in the LAL to end the year.
The Silverbacks still very much in the mix for a regular season title. The Sharks very much in the mix for a regular season title. And the Brooklyn Pharaohs very much in the driver's seat right now, unbeaten at 5-0 entering the weekend. And Nick, for us here on PDF, our next Jersey Sharks broadcast will see them take on the Brooklyn Pharaohs. For the Sharks, that will be their regular season finale. And that game will take place on Saturday, October 5th, in 2 weeks' time. Next opponent on the schedule for Jersey, the Central Jersey Vikings. They defeated Central Jersey 38-0 last time they met. As for the Silverbacks, they take on the Long Island Red Devils right back here at Madden Field. Madden has been great host tonight. Full reign in the press box for us. We're very grateful for that. And we are very grateful to all of you, our audience, watching at home here on the PDF Sports Network. But until next time, my name is Joe Foreman, my broadcast partner, Nicholas Pavona, our camera operator, Pat Gilorenzo, and as always, our producer back at home, Dave Pizzuto. All of us thank you for watching. Once again, our final score, the Silverbacks 24 and the Sharks 12. Be sure to catch more Jersey Sharks football here on the PDF Sports Network with their season finale against the Pharaohs on October 5th.